In the depths of the evergreen wilds, beneath a sky that shimmered with secrets and twilight, a haunting tale of betrayal and rebirth begins. Imagine a world where the ancient forests whisper the legends of once mighty packs, where every rustle of the leaves and every murmur of the wind carries memories of lost glory and whispered promises. Here, in this realm of primal beauty and ruthless loyalties, we meet Olwin, a gentle soul born into the Silver Arrow pack, whose heart is as tender as it is resilient. From the very first breath, Olwin's story captures our attention. She is an omega with a spirit forged by both sorrow and an unyielding desire for a second chance. Once, she had believed in a love that would light up even the darkest nights. Instead, fate dealt her a cruel hand. Betrayed by her mate, Aaron, and deceived by a trusted friend, Kylie, who usurped her place as Luna, Olwin's world shattered into fragments. Yet, amid the ruins of her shattered trust, a spark of hope glimmers, a possibility that destiny might yet weave a new tapestry for her life. Picture the scene: a lonely, windswept night in the wild, where the silver moon hangs low and luminous over a forest shrouded in mist. In that ethereal glow, Olwin stands at the edge of her past, a lone figure marked by heartache, ready to step into the unknown. The betrayal cuts deep, isolating her from everything familiar, but in that same moment of solitude, a strange magnetic pull beckons her forward, a silent call to seek solace and rediscover the strength hidden within her wounded soul. Her decision to leave the Silver Arrow pack is not born out of despair alone. It is a courageous leap into the mystery of the unknown. As she walks away, every step echoes with the weight of past memories and the hope of future redemption. The forest, draped in the soft luminescence of a post-rain glow, seems to hold its breath, as if the very earth is watching her journey with bated anticipation. The cool, damp air mingles with the scent of rain-washed foliage, and every heartbeat resonates with the promise of renewal, a chance to rewrite a destiny marred by treachery. In the distance, the gentle murmur of a river calls out like a siren song. It promises a fresh beginning in the Moon River pack, a sanctuary where fate might yet smile upon her. The landscape itself is a masterpiece. Towering ancient trees stretch their gnarled limbs toward the heavens, and shafts of light break through the canopy, illuminating hidden glens and secret clearings. In this realm of natural wonder, Olwin is both an outsider and a seeker. A lone wanderer with a fragile heart, determined to find not just a new pack, but a new purpose. But what drives Olwin is not merely the need for belonging. It is the relentless, internal battle against the ghosts of her past. Every memory of laughter turned sour, every gentle caress that soured into a sting of betrayal, fuels a simmering storm within her. She carries with her a burden of questions that gnaw at her soul. Why did the ones she loved betray her? How can she ever trust again? And amid these piercing doubts, there is a quiet, stubborn ember of resilience, a promise to herself that she will rise from these ashes stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. Even as she embarks on this uncertain journey, the landscape around her mirrors the tumult within. The forest seems to sigh with ancient wisdom, its every shadow and glimmer of light a reflection of the duality of life, a constant interplay between despair and hope, darkness and brilliance. It is in these fleeting moments, when the world around her transforms into a canvas of dramatic contrasts, that the true magic of her story begins to unfold. Each step, each pause beneath the sprawling oak that has silently witnessed the passage of countless seasons, deepens the mystery of her fate and stokes the fires of her inner resolve. In this cinematic opening, the stage is set with layers of evocative imagery and raw emotion. We are introduced not only to a world where pack dynamics are as unpredictable as the shifting winds, but also to a character whose very soul is in the throes of transformation. Olwin's journey is a delicate dance between heartache and hope, a quest for meaning in a life that has been upended by betrayal. It is a story of isolation in the face of overwhelming odds, a narrative that challenges the very notion of destiny and invites us to ponder the nature of loyalty, love, and the mysterious bonds that tie us all together. As the soft murmur of the forest envelops her, Olwin steps forward into a realm of new possibilities, where the echoes of her past are carried away on the wind, leaving behind only the promise of a future reimagined. This is a moment of profound suspense, where every whisper of the breeze and every glimmer of starlight hints at the profound transformation yet to come, a transformation that is as unpredictable as it is inevitable. In the quiet before the storm of destiny takes full form, we are left with a lingering question. Will Olwin find the redemption and love she so desperately seeks, or will the shadows of her past forever haunt the corridors of her heart? The answer, shrouded in mystery and destined to unfold in the depths of the evergreen wilds, beckons us to follow her every step with bated breath, as her journey is only just beginning. And so, in this vast, enchanted wilderness, where every moment is charged with emotion and every heartbeat is a testament to the power of resilience, our tale of destiny's tethers takes its first, breathtaking breath. In the beginning, before the echoes of modern rivalry and betrayal, there was only the wild, untamed expanse of the evergreen wilds, a realm where nature reigned supreme, and every leaf whispered secrets of ancient power. It was here, beneath a sky painted with the fading hues of twilight and the promise of a full, watchful moon, that the first pack emerged, setting into motion a saga of loyalty, ambition, and destiny. Legend tells us that when the first pack arrived, in these vast woodlands, they were led by a wise and venerable alpha whose eyes had seen more seasons than most could imagine. His heart, heavy with the wisdom of countless cycles of life, beat in tune with the pulse of the land. Yet, the journey to this land of promise was not without sacrifice. Weary and battered by the relentless trials of their long voyage, the original Alpha and his loyal followers found themselves at the brink of exhaustion. Their bodies ached, and their spirits were tested, yet they carried on, driven by a fierce desire to forge a sanctuary amid nature's relentless grandeur. Under the pale luminescence of the moon, the pack set about establishing their domain, etching their existence into the very fabric of the forest. But as the days turned to weeks, and the seasons began their slow dance, a profound struggle unfolded within the pack. The original Alpha, the wise and just, grew increasingly frail, his strength waning with the passage of time. In the face of his dwindling vigor, a darker ambition stirred among the pack, a hunger for power that eclipsed the sacred bonds of loyalty. It was during one fateful moonlit night that the seeds of betrayal were sown. A cunning and ruthless wolf, known to history only as the false Alpha, emerged from the shadows. With a silver tongue and a heart devoid of the ancestral honor, he began to sow discord among the ranks. Whispered promises of strength and security wove their way into the minds of many, turning the unity of the pack into a fragile tapestry of conflicting ambitions. The false Alpha was a master of manipulation. He presented himself as the solution to the pack's growing vulnerability, a bulwark against the inevitable decline of their once illustrious leader. Slowly, he garnered support, persuading a significant number of wolves that his vision was the only path forward. Loyalty, once the bedrock of the pack's identity, became a commodity to be bartered and betrayed. Those who once howled in unison, beneath the moon now whispered conspiracies in the dark, their hearts swayed by promises of renewed might and control. As the internal struggle reached its fevered pitch, the air itself seemed to crackle with the tension of a coming storm. The once harmonious symphony of the wild fell silent as a power struggle erupted into a climactic confrontation. In a duel beneath the ancient boughs of an ageless oak, the true nature of ambition was laid bare. The wise Alpha, weakened by years of hardship yet unyielding in his spirit, faced the false Alpha in a battle that was as much about honor as it was about survival. The clash of wills and the raw, primal energy of the duel echoed through the forest, a testament to the eternal conflict between wisdom and treachery, Amid the chaos of fangs and fury, the heavens above bore silent witness. The moon, radiant and enigmatic, watched with a cool detachment. Legends say that the moon goddess herself, a silent guardian of fate, cast a subtle blessing upon those who remained true to their hearts. It was in that moment of bitter strife that the goddess's mysterious grace fell upon the rightful leader, a soft, luminous glow that seemed to fortify his every move and temper the blows of betrayal. Yet, despite this divine favor, the battle did not end in a triumphant victory of honor alone. The false alpha, though vanquished in combat, managed to fracture the once united pack. Many wolves, disillusioned and embittered, chose to abandon the remnants of a once glorious legacy and carve out their own destinies elsewhere in the vast wilds. Thus, the Great Schism gave birth to the multitude of packs that now roam the evergreen wilds: the Moon River Pack, the Snowfang Pack, the Fireclaw Pack, and the Willow Creek Pack among them. Each of these new clans carried within them the echoes of that fateful night, a legacy of shattered trust and the enduring power of loyalty. Yet, the Silver Arrow Pack, despite all that had transpired, continued to stand as a pillar of strength, a living reminder that the bonds forged under the moon's watchful eye are not easily broken. The story of the Evergreen Wilds is one woven with threads of destiny and the indomitable spirit of those who call it home. It is a tale where every betrayal is countered by a flicker of hope, every fall by a rise toward a higher purpose. The original Alpha's noble sacrifice and the tumultuous power struggle that followed remind us that true leadership is not measured merely by strength, but by the honor, loyalty, and compassion that guide a pack through its darkest hours. And so, as the moon casts its gentle glow over the evergreen wilds, the legend lives on, a timeless narrative of loyalty betrayed and redeemed, of hearts wounded yet unbroken. The echoes of that ancient duel resonate still, whispered in the wind and carried on the wings of destiny, forever entwined with the mystique of the moon goddess's enigmatic blessing. The Silver Arrow Pack was once a beacon of unity and power, a family bound by unyielding loyalty under the guidance of a true leader. In its prime, the pack thrived amid the evergreen majesty of the wilds, each wolf driven by a shared purpose and the promise of a brighter future. The true alpha, with eyes that sparkled with wisdom and a heart that beat in perfect rhythm with the wilderness, nurtured a culture of trust and honor. Every howl under the silver glow of the moon was a hymn to their collective strength, a reminder that together they could overcome any hardship. Under his leadership, the Silver Arrow Pack blossomed into a force revered and respected by all who dwelled in the wilds. His decisions were measured and compassionate, and his guidance ensured that each member of the pack was both protected and empowered. The moon goddess, ever watchful, seemed to smile upon them, bestowing subtle blessings that enriched their unity and steeled their resolve against the trials of the untamed world. In those halcyon days, loyalty was more than a word. It was the very essence of their identity, an invisible thread weaving each wolf into the fabric of the pack's legacy. But even the most radiant legacies can be shadowed by betrayal. As time passed, and the inevitable cycle of life demanded change, a dark ambition stirred among some. A false alpha emerged, his eyes burning with hunger for power, and his heart void of the honor that had once defined their leader. In a bitter twist of fate, this new figure exploited the vulnerabilities born of the aging true alpha, sowing seeds of discord within the pack. Where there had once been solidarity, now whispers of doubt and resentment took root. The false alpha's cruelty was as cold as the moon's distant light. He used fear as his instrument of control, manipulating those who had once trusted implicitly. His rise to power was marked by ruthless acts, decisions made not for the good of the pack, but to serve his insatiable need for dominance. Slowly, the unity that had been so carefully cultivated began to unravel. The Silver Arrow Pack, once a symbol of strength, splintered into factions as loyalty was bartered away for fleeting promises of might. Wolves who had once stood shoulder to shoulder now drifted apart, their hearts hardened by betrayal. The pack's decline was as dramatic as it was heartbreaking. With each act of treachery, the bond that held them together weakened, until the once resilient family was reduced to a fragmented shadow of its former self. The lesson was stark and immutable. True strength does not stem from fear or manipulation, but from the unwavering loyalty that is nurtured under the gentle, guiding light of the moon goddess. Only through trust, honor, and the subtle blessings of that celestial force could a pack hope to endure the relentless storms of fate. Amid this turbulent backdrop, the life of Olwin unfolded, a poignant testament to both the beauty and the brutality of destiny. As the Silver Arrow pack fell into disarray, Olwin, an omega of gentle spirit and quiet resilience, found herself caught in the crossfire of loyalty and betrayal. Her days became a constant struggle, a daily grind punctuated by rigorous training sessions designed to sharpen her reflexes and strengthen her body. Under the watchful eye of her mentor, Betrayal, she pushed herself beyond the limits of exhaustion, each session a bittersweet reminder of what had been lost. During these early morning training sessions, as dew still clung to the leaves and the first rays of sunlight filtered through the forest canopy, Olwyn's mind often wandered back to the lost echoes of her past. Memories of her family, the voices of those who had once cradled her in warmth, would surface unexpectedly, stirring a cocktail of longing and pain. In the midst of each grueling workout, a silent voice whispered reminders of a childhood filled with love and laughter, now replaced by the haunting void left by betrayal and loss. Every strike, every evasive maneuver, was not just a physical exercise, but a battle fought within, a constant internal war where hope clashed with despair. The rhythmic pounding of her heart, the controlled exhale of breath in the crisp morning air, and the sight of her own reflection in the glistening dew were all elements that blended into a symphony of resilience. Olwyn's training was as much a ritual of survival as it was a homage to those who had believed in her, even when the world around her crumbled into chaos. The fallen Silver Arrow pack served as a constant, melancholic reminder that the true measure of strength lay not in the power to dominate, but in the integrity of one's spirit and the loyalty that binds hearts together. Olwyn learned this painful lesson well. The betrayal that had torn her from the pack was not merely a personal loss. It was emblematic of a greater fracture in the very essence of what a family should be. And yet, within that profound sorrow, there flickered a spark of determination. It was as if the moon goddess herself had imbued her with the strength to rise anew, to forge a path of honor in a world where true loyalty was a rare, cherished treasure. In the silence of the forest and the relentless rhythm of her training, Olwyn's resolve hardened. Each movement was deliberate, a dance of grace and grit that whispered of redemption and the promise of new beginnings. While the splintered remnants of the Silver Arrow pack faded into the annals of history, Olwyn was determined to carry forward the lessons of the past, a living reminder that true strength is born of loyalty, nurtured by honor, and blessed by the quiet, enduring grace of the moon goddess. Thus, amid the echoes of a fallen legacy and the harsh realities of daily survival, Olwyn's journey was just beginning. Her path, though fraught with inner conflicts and painful memories, was also lit by the soft, persistent glow of hope, a beacon that promised a future where love and loyalty might once again reign supreme, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. In Seoul, the cool pre-dawn light of the evergreen wilds, Olwyn stepped onto the training ground, a clearing bordered by ancient trees whose leaves whispered the secrets of centuries. The atmosphere was heavy with the damp mist of early morning, and as she began her routine, every breath felt both a challenge and a quiet promise. Despite the exhaustion etched into her bones, each step carried the weight of determination, a silent vow to forge a new future from the ruins of her past. Betrayal, a seasoned mentor with a kind yet steadfast demeanor, watched over her with encouraging eyes. His presence was a calm anchor, amid the turbulent mix of pain and hope that churned within her. As Olwin launched into her warm-up, she could feel the cool, dewy grass beneath her bare paws, the natural texture grounding her in the moment. Every stride was punctuated by the soft rustle of fallen leaves, an auditory reminder of the cyclical nature of life, loss, renewal, and the promise of rebirth. The training session was grueling. Olwin's muscles burned with each precise maneuver she executed, and the scent of earth and rain mingled with the salty tang of her sweat. Her pale brown curls, slightly damp with perspiration, caught the soft caress of the wind as it played among them, offering a fleeting respite from the heat of exertion. Yet for every labored breath and every drop of sweat that trickled down her face, there was a moment of transcendence, a brief, almost imperceptible pause, where her inner strength shone through. "Nice job, Olwin," Beta Caden called out, his voice a blend of warmth and discipline that resonated across the clearing. His words, simple yet profound, acted as both a balm and a spark for her weary soul. In that instant, when fatigue threatened to engulf her, his praise reawakened a flicker of resilience within her. It was as if every kind word was an elixir, easing the pain of her physical struggle and rekindling a sense of purpose that had long been dormant. As she resumed her drills, a series of agile movements meant to enhance her ability to dodge and counter incoming attacks, Olwin felt the bittersweet sting of exhaustion juxtaposed with the empowering echo of Caden's encouragement. Each parry and swift dodge was a testament to her commitment, a physical dialogue between her battered body and her unyielding spirit. The rhythmic thump of her heart, synchronized with the natural cadence of the forest, was like a metronome marking the pace of her rebirth. The sensory details of that morning were indelibly etched into her memory. The sound of her labored breathing mingled with the gentle hum of nature. A distant bird call here, the whisper of wind through the trees there. Her sweat, warm and persistent, served as a tangible reminder of her effort and the sheer willpower driving her forward. With every push against the limits of her endurance, Olwin's thoughts turned inward, reflecting on the myriad of emotions that had brought her to this very moment. In those quiet moments between exertion, when the world seemed to hold its breath, she remembered fragments of a past that no longer defined her. Memories of laughter shared beneath a full moon, of soft embraces that promised eternal love. These recollections, though tinged with melancholy, now fueled her determination to rise anew. The pain of betrayal and loss was ever present, yet it was now a catalyst for transformation, rather than a chain that bound her to despair. Beta Caden's guidance was gentle, yet firm. Focus on your breath, Olwin. Let the wind carry away the fatigue, and remember, every drop of sweat is a sign of your strength, not your weakness. His words reverberated within her, aligning with the natural rhythm of the forest. In that moment, the physical struggles she faced transformed into a powerful metaphor for her inner battle, a fight not just for survival, but for reclaiming her true self. As the training continued, the clearing gradually filled with the subtle light of dawn, casting elongated shadows that danced in harmony with the waking earth. Olwin's movements, though still heavy with fatigue, began to adopt a newfound grace. With every technique perfected, she felt her spirit lift, buoyed by the affirmation of her mentor's praise. The gentle murmur of the forest, the tender caress of the breeze in her hair, and the rhythmic cadence of her heartbeat all merged to create a symphony of renewal. A vivid reminder that strength, true strength, comes not from force alone, but from the quiet perseverance of the soul. In that serene, charged atmosphere, Olwin experienced an emotional rebirth. The pain of past betrayals, the agony of lost familial bonds, and the scars of a shattered identity were slowly being transmuted into something transformative. Each breath she drew, each movement she perfected, was an act of defiance against the darkness that once threatened to consume her. It was a declaration that, despite all odds, she would emerge stronger, a testament to the indomitable resilience that had always resided within her. By the end of the session, as she paused to catch her breath beneath the ancient oak, Olwin looked up at the awakening sky with a sense of calm determination. Beta Caden's encouraging smile lingered in her mind, a beacon that promised support and trust even in the harshest of times. In that quiet moment, amidst the chorus of nature's awakening, Olwyn's journey toward redemption and renewal was unmistakably clear, a path paved with sweat, perseverance, and the enduring hope that the moon goddess herself would watch over her as she stepped boldly into a future reimagined. Under the dappled light of a quiet morning, Olwyn found herself drifting back to the tender memories of her childhood, a time when the world seemed kinder and every moment shone with the warmth of familial love. Born in Omega in a humble corner of the evergreen wilds, she was cherished beyond measure by her parents, whose gentle voices and loving embraces once painted her early days in hues of pure, untainted hope. Though those moments were brief, they were imbued with a depth of tenderness that would forever anchor her heart. In the soft glow of memory, Olwyn recalled the laughter that danced through the little home they had known. A modest dwelling nestled amidst whispering pines and vibrant wildflowers. Her mother's soothing lullabies and her father's hearty chuckles created a symphony of warmth that contrasted starkly with the harshness of the outside world. These recollections were not merely echoes of a time gone by. They were a sanctuary, in her mind, a sacred space where love reigned supreme and every heartbeat resonated with the promise of security. Yet this idyll was cruelly shattered by the relentless advance of fate. The rogue attacks, brutal and unyielding, swept through their world like a merciless storm, ripping apart the fragile fabric of their existence. Olwyn remembered the terror of those days with an aching clarity, the frantic howls in the night, the desperate scramble for safety, and the heart-wrenching final moments when her parents chose sacrifice over surrender. In their final act, they had defended not only their daughter, but also the very essence of the Silver Arrow Pack, proving that honor and love were worth every sacrifice. As she stood now, amidst the silent stillness of the forest, Olwyn could almost hear her father's steady, reassuring voice and her mother's soft, tender whispers urging her to be brave. Their courage in the face of overwhelming adversity became a guiding light, a beacon of resilience that illuminated the darkest corridors of her grief. It was as if the very spirit of those lost souls now dwelled within her, urging her to honor their memory by forging a future filled with hope and renewed kinship. In quiet moments of solitude, when the weight of her loss pressed heavily upon her heart, Olwyn would close her eyes and let the memories wash over her like a gentle tide. She could see her parents, vibrant and alive, their faces lit with love and gentle pride. In these flashbacks, the past was not a source of sorrow, but a testament to the strength that comes from sacrifice. Their legacy was not one of loss, but of honor, a legacy that declared that true family is built on the foundations of unconditional love and selfless devotion. This internal dialogue, rich with longing and bittersweet remembrance, served as both a salve for her wounds and a wellspring of determination. In the quiet corners of her mind, she often wondered what might have been if fate had been kinder, if she had been allowed a longer dance with her parents, if the world had not been so ruthless in its demands. Yet, even as these thoughts brought a pang of melancholy, they also ignited within her an indomitable resolve. For every tear shed in memory, there bloomed a silent promise that she would carry forward the honor of her lineage, that she would never allow the cruelty of the rogue attacks to define her destiny. The memory of her parents was interwoven with the natural beauty of the wilds. As Olwyn wandered through the forest, the rustle of leaves and the gentle murmur of a hidden stream reminded her of the gentle cadence of her childhood, a time when nature itself seemed to celebrate life. Every bird's song, every shimmer of sunlight through the branches, became a subtle tribute to the love that once enveloped her world. And though the pain of their loss was a constant companion, it also served as a quiet reminder that from deep sorrow, new strength can emerge. In this reflective state, Olwin resolved to honor their sacrifice by nurturing a renewed sense of family, one that transcended blood ties and echoed the enduring spirit of loyalty and sacrifice. The Silver Arrow Pack, though now fragmented by betrayal and the passage of time, still carried within its history the indelible mark of her parents' courage. Their legacy was not lost. It was a silent promise that every act of sacrifice, every moment of selflessness, contributes to the greater tapestry of unity and strength. As the morning light grew warmer, casting long, gentle shadows across the forest floor, Olwin felt the stirring of hope, a delicate yet unyielding spark that illuminated her path forward. In the echoes of her past, she found the resolve to continue her journey, to rebuild not only her own life, but also the shattered bonds of loyalty that once defined her world. The memories of her parents, bittersweet and luminous, would guide her steps in the darkness, leading her toward a future where the true strength of family and the blessings of the moon goddess could be reborn anew. Under the soft, fading light of a late afternoon, Olwin stepped up onto the familiar front porch, a sanctuary that once echoed with laughter and warm welcomes. The aged wooden boards creaked under her careful steps, each sound a bittersweet reminder of the past. The porch, draped in the delicate glow of twilight, held an almost sacred stillness, as if it too was holding its breath in anticipation of her return. As Olwin reached the door, her heart fluttered with a mix of relief and apprehension. The comforting scent of aged wood and lingering traces of lavender, her mother's favorite, wrapped around her like a cherished memory. The world outside had grown harsh and unforgiving, but here, on this time-worn porch, there was a momentary return to the gentleness of her once secure childhood. Then, from within the cozy glow of the house, came the soft, familiar footsteps of Aaron, her mate. His presence radiated warmth and familiarity, and for a fleeting moment, the world seemed to pause in a perfect, heartwarming tableau. Aaron emerged from the doorway, with a gentle smile that tugged at the corners of his eyes. A smile that spoke of shared histories and promises made under countless full moons. He extended his arms toward Olwin in an embrace that was both tender and all too familiar. The closeness of his body, the soft murmur of his heartbeat mingling with the whisper of the wind, brought a surge of comfort and reassurance, a solace that Olwin had long craved in the wake of her tumultuous journey. In that intimate moment, Aaron produced a small, delicately carved box from his pocket. With a touch as gentle as the brush of a summer breeze, he opened the box to reveal a symbolic necklace, a charm in the shape of an arrow piercing a heart. The gleam of the pendant caught the dying light, reflecting a promise of love and loyalty. Aaron's eyes, deep and earnest, searched hers for a sign of acceptance. "For you, Olwin," he murmured softly, his voice low and steady. "To remind you of who you are and all that we've overcome." Yet, beneath the warmth of that long-awaited embrace, a subtle tension lingered, an undercurrent of unease that only the most discerning hearts could detect. As Olwin's fingertips brushed over the cool metal of the necklace, she felt a shiver not entirely from the cool air. The familiar comfort of his touch was shadowed by a quiet, almost imperceptible hint of something amiss. A lingering doubt that whispered of betrayal in corners yet unspoken. The air around them, though heavy with the scent of fresh rain and fading blossoms, seemed to thicken with an unsaid truth that threatened to unravel the tender scene. For a brief moment, the porch became a stage upon which the dual nature of their bond was displayed. Aaron's embrace, so full of past intimacy and gentle care, clashed with the faint but unmistakable memory of past deceptions. Olwin's mind flickered with images of broken promises and hidden secrets, a stark contrast to the idyllic reunion that the present moment seemed to promise. Her heart pounded with conflicted emotions. Part of her yearned for the solace and continuity of this reunion. while another part trembled at the thought of the betrayal that had once shattered her spirit. As they stood there, the sensory details wove a complex tapestry around them. The soft rustling of the leaves in the gentle evening breeze, the distant hum of a passing car on a nearby road, and the muted chirp of crickets in the encroaching dusk all merged into a delicate symphony that underscored the emotional duality of the scene. Erin's embrace was warm, a comfort that made her want to close her eyes and surrender to the memory of a time when love was unblemished. Yet, the cool touch of the necklace against her skin sparked a quiet introspection, an internal dialogue that reminded her of the harsh lessons learned through betrayal. In that charged atmosphere, every sensory detail carried weight. The way Erin's cologne, a blend of cedar and something indefinably familiar, mingled with the cool night air, the soft murmur of his voice as he spoke gentle words of reassurance, all seemed meticulously crafted to recreate a sense of home. And yet, for Olwin, home had become a fragile concept, one that was as much built on trust as it was on the lingering scars of betrayal. As the moment lingered, Olwin's gaze met Erin's, and in his eyes, she searched for the truth that lay beneath the surface. There was love there, undoubtedly, but also an unspoken promise, perhaps a plea for forgiveness and understanding. Her heart, heavy with the echoes of past pain, responded in silence, the conflicting emotions battling within her. Each beat of her heart resonated with a quiet determination to embrace the comfort of this reunion, even as a cautious part of her whispered doubts. Erin's hand gently squeezed hers, as if urging her to let go of the weight of suspicion and trust in the present moment. "I know it's been hard," he whispered, his voice soft and laden with an emotion that transcended words. "But I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." His words were like a gentle promise, yet the undercurrent of that promise was laced with the uncertainty of unspoken past transgressions. And so, on that quiet front porch, under the watchful eye of a fading day and a rising moon, Olwin stood, at the crossroads of hope and caution. The symbolic necklace hung around her neck, a tangible reminder of a love that was meant to be pure and enduring. But as the warmth of Erin's embrace enveloped her, the delicate balance of trust and trepidation wove its intricate web around her heart, a web that held both the promise of a renewed future and the lingering shadows of a past that would not easily be forgotten. In that moment, the front porch was not merely a physical space. It was a threshold between what had been and what could be. It was a place where the pain of yesterday met the hope of tomorrow, where the soft glow of reunion cast long shadows that hinted at the complexities of love and betrayal. And as the night deepened around them, the quiet promise of that tender reunion lingered in the air, inviting those who witnessed it to believe in the possibility of healing, even as it left them pondering the truth behind every affectionate gesture. The morning's gentle glow quickly faded into a disquieting haze as Olwin stepped off the porch and made her way inside, her heart still buoyed by the tender reunion. But within moments, the fragile bubble of solace began to crack. In a room where soft murmurs of conversation once promised security, an unexpected scene unraveled before her eyes, a scene that would shatter the remnants of her fragile hope. There, in the dim light of a quiet living room, Erin and Kylie were entangled in an embrace that was anything but innocent. Erin's familiar, warm presence, which had once filled her with reassurance, now carried a dissonant note of betrayal. The tender kiss they shared was not a greeting of love, but an act of forbidden intimacy that ignited a storm of emotions within Olwin. For a moment, time itself seemed to halt, each second stretching out painfully as the reality of the scene etched itself into her mind. "Erin," her voice, barely a whisper at first, trembled as it broke the heavy silence. The sound of her words, fragile yet filled with anguish, cut through the murmur of the room like a shard of ice. Erin's eyes, wide with shock, darted toward her, while Kylie's gaze faltered under the weight of guilt. In that fleeting instant, Olwin felt as if the ground beneath her had crumbled, a betrayal so deep it threatened to swallow her whole. Inside, a torrent of conflicting emotions raged. Her heart, once buoyed by the warmth of familiar embraces, now pounded with an overwhelming mixture of heartbreak, anger, and a desperate gnawing need for answers. The comforting memories of their reunion collided violently with the searing pain of deception. Olwin's mind raced. How could the man she had trusted, the one whose touch had once been her sanctuary, now be so callous? And yet, amid the crushing sorrow, a small, tentative spark of liberation flickered, a possibility that perhaps this betrayal, as excruciating as it was, could be the catalyst for a new beginning. Aaron stuttered, his voice faltering as he tried to explain, "Olwin, But the words fell away, drowned out by the raw intensity of the moment. His face, etched with regret and the haunted realization of his actions, offered no solace. Kylie, unable to meet her gaze, remained silent, her eyes pleading for forgiveness that would never come. Olwin's inner monologue, sharp and unyielding, tore through the veneer of the present. I trusted him with every part of my heart, and now it feels as if it's been shattered into a million irreparable pieces. How can the man I loved become the instrument of my deepest pain? The room, once a haven of soft laughter and shared memories, now seemed to pulse with the sound of her racing heartbeat. Every detail, the cool glass of the table, the muted hum of an old clock, the distant rustle of leaves outside, served as a cruel reminder of what had been lost. Olwin's eyes shimmered with unshed tears as she retreated a step, her body recoiling from the sight that burned into her soul. In the midst of her devastation, a curious, conflicted thought began to take root. Could this moment of betrayal also be a doorway to something new? The question, both painful and liberating, wove its way through her consciousness. Yes, the wound was raw, and yes, the sting of betrayal was unbearable. But within that agony, there was also a whisper of possibility. Perhaps in the depths of this heartache lay the chance to redefine herself, to embrace a future where her worth was not measured by the betrayal of another. Olwin. Aaron's voice, now softer, filled the space between them, a desperate plea that mingled sorrow with regret. Yet, his tone, laden with uncertainty, did little to ease the turmoil that churned inside her. I never meant to hurt you, he continued, his words barely audible, as if he were pleading with the ghost of their shared past. But for Olwin, every syllable was a painful reminder of trust broken and promises betrayed. A tear slid down her cheek, and with it came a quiet resolve. The shock and grief coursing through her began to transform, slowly, into a determination not to be defined by this single act of betrayal. Even as her heart ached, a part of her recognized that clinging to the pain would only anchor her to the past. There was, somewhere deep within, an ember of strength that could be rekindled into a flame of new purpose. As Olwin took a trembling breath, the room seemed to blur around the edges. The vivid details of that moment, the soft, pleading look in Aaron's eyes, Kylie's silent remorse, the lingering scent of his cologne mingled with the bitter taste of betrayal, melded into an overwhelming tapestry of emotion. In the silent aftermath, with the weight of heartbreak pressing down upon her, she felt an unexpected clarity. The painful truth was now laid bare, and she would have to choose between remaining a prisoner of her past or seizing this moment as the beginning of her own rebirth. And so, as the scene on the living room floor continued to echo in her mind, Olwin stood at the precipice of a pivotal choice. Every fiber of her being vibrated with the raw intensity of loss. Yet, in that very intensity, lay the potential for renewal. The betrayal of Aaron and Kylie was a wound that might never fully heal, but it was also a brutal, unvarnished reminder that she was capable of enduring profound pain. The path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty, but it glimmered with the possibility of rediscovering herself, a self defined not by the shadows of betrayal, but by the brilliant light of a hard-won resilience. In the quiet that followed, as Olwin turned away from the painful tableau and sought refuge in the solitude of her thoughts, a silent promise began to form within her, a promise that she would rise from this betrayal with a newfound strength, carving out a future where the ghost of this heartbreak would no longer hold her captive. The journey toward that new beginning was only just beginning, and even in the midst of raw despair, there lay a spark of hope waiting to ignite the flames of her rebirth. Beneath the ever-changing canopy of the evergreen wilds, a new dawn was breaking, a promise of hope that beckoned Olwin to leave behind the shattered remnants of the Silver Arrow Pack. With a heart heavy yet resolute, she turned away from the echoes of betrayal and sorrow, embracing the possibility of a fresh start in the Moon River Pack. It was a decision born not out of despair, but from a fierce determination to reclaim her identity and rebuild a life filled with genuine loyalty and warmth. The journey began in the cool prelude of morning, when the world was bathed in a soft, dappled light that filtered through the towering trees. Each step on the worn dirt path felt like a deliberate stride toward her new destiny. The path, winding through an ancient forest, was alive with the subtle whispers of nature, a symphony of rustling leaves, distant bird calls, and the gentle murmur of a brook nearby. As Olwin walked, the cool forest breezes caressed her pale, brown curls, each gust a tender reminder that nature, too, had a way of healing even the deepest wounds. Her pace was unhurried, every footfall a measured beat in the quiet rhythm of her escape. Along the way, shafts of sunlight broke through the canopy, casting a mosaic of light and shadow on the ground. In these fleeting moments, the interplay of light and dark seemed to echo the battle within her, a heart bruised by betrayal, yet eager to be mended by hope. The scent of damp earth and fresh foliage mingled with the faint trace of wildflowers, each breath filling her with the promise of renewal and the anticipation of what lay ahead. At the edge of a clearing, Olwin came upon a rushing river, a powerful, untamed current that spoke of nature's relentless force. The river, wild and free, symbolized the very essence of the life she yearned to reclaim. Its waters, churning over smooth stones, created a natural barrier that separated her past from the future she was about to embrace. With quiet determination, she approached a narrow, worn dirt bridge that arched over the tumultuous flow. Every step on the uneven bridge was both a literal and symbolic crossing, leaving behind the painful memories of the Silver Arrow Pack and stepping into a realm where she could rebuild, rediscover, and redefine herself. The cool mist from the river sprayed gently against her skin, its touch both invigorating and cleansing. As she crossed, the sound of the water beneath the bridge echoed like a heartbeat, a steady, reassuring rhythm that synchronized with the cadence of her own heart. This moment of transition was cinematic in its simplicity. The murmur of the water, the rustling of the leaves, and the soft glow of the morning light conspired to create a scene of quiet triumph and gentle renewal. With the river behind her, Olwin continued her journey through a landscape that seemed to whisper promises of belonging and healing. The path ahead was lined with ancient trees, whose sprawling branches reached skyward, as if offering silent benedictions for her passage. Each step forward was fueled by a tentative hope, a flicker of light that had begun to overcome the shadows of her past. The Moon River Pack awaited her, a new family whose bond was yet to be forged. It was in this unknown territory that Olwin envisioned the beginning of a life unburdened by the ghosts of betrayal. Throughout the journey, every sensation deepened her resolve. The cool caress of the forest breeze, the vibrant chorus of nature's sounds, and the mesmerizing interplay of light and shadow all served to bolster her inner strength. Yet, amid the natural beauty, there remained an undercurrent of solemnity. Each step was laced with the weight of memories, a delicate tapestry of love lost and lessons learned. But rather than anchoring her to despair, these memories fueled her determination to rebuild her life on her own terms. As Olwin reached the outskirts of the Moon River Pack's territory, the landscape began to shift. The terrain softened into gentle rolling hills and meandering streams, the air carrying a hint of riverine freshness and the promise of community. Here, in the embrace of this new environment, she sensed the possibility of belonging. A chance to form bonds based not on past betrayals, but on mutual respect and shared hopes. The Moon River Pack represented a sanctuary where true loyalty might yet be restored, and where the blessings of the moon goddess could guide her toward a future filled with light. In that profound moment, standing on the cusp of her new beginning, Olwin felt a quiet surge of determination. Her journey had been arduous, marked by heartbreak and the scars of betrayal, yet each step had also been a testament to her resilience. The symbolic crossing of the rushing river was not merely a physical passage. It was a rite of renewal, a transformation from a past marred by deceit to a future brimming with possibility. With every step she took, the tentative hope in her heart grew stronger, echoing with the promise of healing and new connections. As the Moon River Pack drew nearer, Olwin embraced her destiny with a spirit that, though wounded, was unyielding. A spirit ready to forge a new path defined by courage, loyalty, and the enduring grace of the natural world. In the cool, shimmering light of early morning, Olwin found herself stepping into a realm that felt both foreign and deeply promising, the domain of the Moon River Pack. The air here was different, charged with a quiet energy that spoke of new beginnings and the unspoken promise of a fresh start. The forest that embraced this pack was a living tapestry of rolling hills, meandering streams, and ancient trees whose sprawling branches seemed to reach out in silent welcome. It was in this ethereal landscape that Olwin first encountered Alpha Landon, a figure whose presence exuded a calm strength and a dignified honor that immediately set him apart from all she had known. As she walked along a gently winding path bordered by ferns and wildflowers, the soft murmur of the nearby river created a soothing backdrop. There, under a sky brushed with the pastel hues of dawn, stood Alpha Landon. He was every bit the embodiment of the pack's spirit, tall, with broad shoulders that carried both the weight of leadership and a gentle grace. His eyes, a striking shade of deep blue, held a steady intensity that mirrored the serene flow of the river itself. In his posture and demeanor, there was a profound balance between power and compassion, a combination that inspired immediate trust and a sense of mutual recognition. When Olwin first approached him, Landon greeted her with a nod of quiet acknowledgement, a subtle yet unmistakable signal that he saw beyond her weary exterior to the resilient heart within. His voice, low and measured, carried a warmth that resonated with the rustling leaves and the distant, melodious call of the wild. "Welcome to the Moon River Pack, Olwin," he said, his tone both formal and inviting. In that moment, the world around them seemed to fall into a hushed rhythm, as if nature itself was pausing to witness the gentle spark of a new alliance. The territory of the Moon River Pack was breathtakingly vivid, a scene painted in hues of emerald and sapphire. The land was lush and vibrant, with meadows that stretched out like soft, verdant blankets beneath the open sky, and streams that danced merrily over smooth, sun-warmed stones. Every element of this landscape seemed to echo the promise of renewal, a stark contrast to the fractured memories of her past life. Here, in the embrace of the Moon River Pack's lands, Olwin sensed an opportunity to heal, to rebuild, and to redefine herself amidst the harmonious cadence of nature. As Alpha Landon led her through a series of gently curving trails, he shared stories of the pack's origins and its enduring values. His narrative was woven with a delicate blend of history and hope, each word painting a picture of a community built on mutual respect, loyalty, and the quiet strength that comes from living in tune with the natural world. The cadence of his voice was rhythmic, as if it were the very pulse of the forest, steady and comforting, gradually soothing the lingering pain of Olwin's past betrayals. With every step, Olwin felt the weight of her old world lifting, a gradual, almost imperceptible liberation as she walked deeper into the heart of the Moon River Pack's domain. The natural beauty around her was intoxicating. Beams of sunlight broke through the dense canopy, casting patterns of light and shadow on the forest floor, while the gentle, persistent murmur of the river provided a soothing counterpoint to the flutter of her hopeful heart. In this sanctuary, the echoes of a painful past began to recede, replaced by the promise of a future where genuine loyalty and honor could be reborn. Alpha Landon, ever observant, noticed the delicate interplay of emotions flickering across Olwin's face. His steady gaze softened with empathy, and he placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, a silent affirmation that she was now among allies, that her scars were not a mark of failure, but a testament to her strength. "Here," he murmured. "You are safe. Here we build anew." His words, simple yet profound, resonated with the timeless rhythm of the wilderness and stirred something within her. A budding belief that maybe, just maybe, she could find her place among these noble souls. Their journey through the Pack's territory felt like a silent ritual of renewal. As they traversed a clearing where wild grasses swayed gently in the breeze, Olwin took in every detail with a heightened sense of wonder. The vibrant colors, the harmonious blend of sounds, and the palpable energy of life all seemed to weave together a promise, a pledge that the Moon River Pack was not merely a new home, but a canvas upon which she could paint her future with strokes of resilience and hope. In that immersive moment of mutual recognition, where every shared glance and soft-spoken word built a bridge between old sorrows and new beginnings, Olwin felt a stirring deep within her, a cautious yet undeniable hope that she was exactly where she was meant to be. Alpha Landon's presence was a constant grounding force. His quiet leadership and compassionate spirit offered not only safety, but also the promise of a fresh start, one where the shadows of betrayal could finally give way to the light of genuine, enduring connection. As they continued along the winding path, the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting a brilliant glow over the Moon River Pack's lands. In that radiant light, every detail of the landscape and every nuance of their conversation shimmered with a new significance. For Olwin, each step forward was a step away from the old, and every word from Landon was a reminder that the future was hers to define, a future built on the unwavering foundation of trust, loyalty, and the quiet, resilient strength of the natural world. In the softly lit administration hall of the Moon River Pack's compound, Olwin stood at the threshold of a new beginning. The room was a tasteful blend of formality and warmth, a space where tradition met modernity. The walls, adorned with carefully framed images of past leaders and ancient symbols, bore witness to generations of loyalty and honor. Here, the air was imbued with a quiet promise, as if the very space was urging her to leave behind the bitter echoes of her past and embrace the possibility of renewal. Olwin took a deep breath and approached a polished oak desk where a neatly arranged stack of forms awaited her attention. Each document was a stepping stone to integration, a ritual that would formalize her acceptance into this new family. The ink on the forms glistened softly under the ambient light, and as she picked up a pen, the cool touch of its metal frame reminded her that this was a moment of both reflection and resolve. "Welcome, Olwin," said a gentle voice from behind her. She turned to see Beta Elijah, a calm and kind presence whose warm smile and steady gaze exuded both authority and reassurance. "We're glad to have you join our ranks," he added, extending a hand that was both formal in greeting, yet imbued with a personal touch of care. With a quiet nod, Olwin began to fill out the forms. As she recorded her name, age, and details of her past allegiances, her mind drifted briefly to the memories of the Silver Arrow Pack, a time filled with both cherished love and searing betrayal. Yet, each word she wrote on the paper was a silent affirmation of her decision. She was no longer bound to a past that had left her wounded. She was stepping into a future that promised hope and belonging. The act was both mundane and transformative, a bureaucratic necessity that symbolized her reawakening. Throughout the process, snippets of conversation filled the room. A soft murmur of voices echoed from a corner where new pack members gathered. "How do you feel about joining the Moon River Pack?" one asked, her tone gentle and curious. Another replied with a hint of excitement. "It's like stepping into a new life, isn't it?" These voices, together with the rustle of paper and the quiet hum of a nearby fan, wove an atmosphere that was both reverent and inviting. Olwin paused momentarily, her pen hovering over a blank section of the form, and allowed herself to reflect. "Every line I write here is a declaration of my intent to move forward," she thought, the memory of her past mingling with the hope of what lay ahead. The gentle ticking of an old clock in the corner marked each passing second as if encouraging her to embrace this transition wholeheartedly. As she completed the paperwork, a soft chime signaled that another new member was approaching. A young wolf with warm hazel eyes and a quiet demeanor stepped forward. "Hi, I'm Josh," he introduced himself, extending a friendly smile. His tone was sincere, and for a brief moment, Olwin felt the heavy weight of her former life lighten, replaced by a budding sense of community. "I know how hard change can be," Josh continued kindly. "But trust me. Here, you're among friends." Their brief exchange, though simple, carried the weight of shared understanding. Olwin managed a gentle smile, feeling a flicker of connection that promised mutual support in the days to come. As she moved from desk to desk, meeting other members, each greeting her with nods, smiles, and expressions that conveyed both respect and genuine welcome, the formal process began to feel less like an administrative hurdle and more like a passage into a circle of care and solidarity. In one corner of the room, an elder wolf named Delta Cassidy offered a few words of wisdom. "This is more than just paperwork," she said softly, her voice seasoned with years of experience. "It's the beginning of rewriting your story. Here, we honor our past, but we're also building our future together." Cassidy's words resonated deeply with Olwin, stirring a sense of quiet determination. She realized that while the forms were a record of her past, the conversations and warm greetings were seeds of her future. The delicate balance between the memories of loss and the promise of a new life was palpable. As Olwin looked around, she saw that every piece of the process was designed to help her integrate, to ensure that while she carried her past with her, it would not define her. The Moon River Pack was not about erasing what had happened. It was about honoring the lessons learned and using them to build a stronger, more resilient future. By the time Olwin signed the final document, the soft murmur of encouragement and gentle laughter had grown into a supportive hum, echoing in the quiet space. Beta Elijah returned to her side, giving her a nod of approval. "Welcome home, Olwin," he said simply, his words filled with sincerity. In that moment, the formalities ceased to be just a set of administrative tasks. They became the ritual of rebirth, a ceremonial crossing from a painful past into a realm of hope, unity, and new possibilities. Standing there, amidst the tangible symbols of this new beginning, Olwin felt a profound shift within herself. The memories of her lost family and the pain of betrayal still lingered in the recesses of her heart. Yet they were now balanced by the promise of belonging and the gentle assurance that she was, finally, in a place where she could heal. The Moon River Pack, with its blend of solemn tradition and warm, personal connection, offered her not just a new home, but a chance to redefine her identity, a chance to rebuild her life on her own terms, under the quiet, enduring guidance of both, its leaders and the natural world that sustained them. And so, as Olwin gathered her completed forms and stepped out of the administration hall, the soft light of a new day embraced her. With each step, she carried the delicate promise of renewal, a promise that even in the face of lingering memories and past sorrow, the future could be shaped by hope, trust, and the unwavering bonds of a true family. As the days unfolded in the welcoming embrace of the Moon River Pack, Olwin began to discover that integration was more than just completing paperwork. It was about forging genuine connections with those around her. In the sunlit corridors of the pack's communal spaces, where warm laughter blended with the soft rustle of leaves outside, she encountered colleagues whose kindness and camaraderie promised a new sense of belonging. Beta Elijah was one of the first to make his presence felt. With a calm demeanor and eyes that held stories of both hardship and hope, Elijah greeted Olwin with a friendly smile that immediately put her at ease. "Welcome to our family, Olwin," he said, extending a hand in a gesture that was both formal and heartfelt. His voice was steady, yet carried a warmth that belied the weight of his own experiences. In that simple moment, as their hands met in a brief but meaningful shake, Olwin sensed the quiet assurance of someone who had weathered many storms and emerged with a deep-rooted commitment to loyalty. Their conversation soon blossomed into casual exchanges as they walked together through the open courtyard of the pack's encampment. The courtyard, bathed in soft morning light and surrounded by ancient trees, buzzed with the activity of wolves preparing for the day. Elijah shared anecdotes of past challenges and triumphs, his words punctuated by occasional chuckles that hinted at the resilient spirit of the Moon River Pack. "You know," he remarked, leaning against a weathered stone wall, "every new member brings a spark that can light up the darkest corners of our history. I believe you'll add a glow of your own, Olwin." His words, sincere and encouraging, resonated with her, as if they were a gentle promise of shared journeys and mutual support. Not long after, Gamma Josh entered the scene, a spirited and engaging personality whose enthusiasm was as infectious as it was genuine. With a mischievous glint in his eyes, Josh greeted Olwin in a manner that was both playful and reassuring. "Hey there, Olwin," he said casually. "Ready to shake things up around here? I've got a few stories and secrets about this pack that might just blow your mind." His light-hearted tone and teasing banter broke through the initial reserve, and soon, Olwin found herself laughing along with him. Their interaction was like a spark, igniting a subtle undercurrent of alliance and camaraderie that promised not only friendship, but also hints of adventures yet to come. Over the next several days, Olwin immersed herself in the daily rhythms of the Moon River Pack. She participated in training sessions, communal meals, and even shared quiet moments by the river that bordered their territory. In each encounter, she observed that every member of this pack carried their own unique story, tales of resilience, humor, and sometimes quiet sorrow. Conversations flowed easily, and in these exchanges, Olwin began to understand that true integration meant more than just adapting. It meant actively building a network of trust and understanding. During one particularly memorable afternoon, as the pack gathered around a long wooden table in the communal hall, a lively discussion about the upcoming seasonal festival erupted. Olwin listened as Delta Cassidy recounted past celebrations with animated expressions and hearty laughter. In the midst of the conversation, a younger wolf named Riley shyly asked, "Olwin, what do you think you'd like to contribute to this year's festival?" The question, both innocuous and intimate, ignited a moment of reflection. For a brief second, she hesitated, her thoughts returning to the pain of past betrayals. But then, with a small, resolute smile, she replied, "I'd like to share stories of hope, loss, and renewal. Stories that remind us all of the strength that comes from being together." The table fell silent for a moment, before erupting into warm applause, a simple act that affirmed her decision to embrace her new home. In these moments of conversation and shared laughter, Olwin felt the tapestry of her life beginning to reweave itself. She was no longer the isolated Omega haunted by memories of a fractured past. Instead, she was evolving into a vital thread in the vibrant fabric of the Moon River Pack. Each interaction, whether a quiet word of wisdom from Beta Elijah, a teasing remark from Gamma Josh, or the candid enthusiasm of a newcomer, served as a stepping stone toward rebuilding her sense of self. Yet, amid these burgeoning relationships, there remained an ever-present hum of anticipation. Conversations often hinted at future endeavors and challenges, subtle allusions to tasks that would test their collective resolve and individual strengths. "There's always a new challenge on the horizon," Josh would remark with a knowing smile, his eyes twinkling with the promise of untold stories. And indeed, as Olwin navigated her days, every friendly exchange carried a spark of curiosity about what the future might hold, what secrets the Moon River Pack had yet to reveal. Each new acquaintance, every heartfelt conversation, was a reminder that she had chosen a path of renewal, a deliberate departure from the painful memories of the Silver Arrow Pack toward a future where loyalty and friendship could flourish. With every passing day, the interactions in the Moon River Pack grew richer, and Olwin found herself slowly, almost imperceptibly, shedding the weight of her past. The camaraderie among her new colleagues not only nurtured a sense of belonging, but also ignited a cautious optimism for what lay ahead. In the quiet interludes between spirited discussions and the rhythmic cadence of daily life, Olwin's inner monologue often drifted to reflections of hope. "Maybe this is where I truly belong," she mused, her thoughts mingling with the soft rustle of the wind and the distant murmur of the river. The sense of unity, the subtle bonds forming with those around her, provided a powerful counterpoint to the isolation of her past. Here, in the embrace of the Moon River Pack, she was not just a solitary figure burdened by memories. She was a vital part of a living, breathing community. A community where every wolf had a role and every voice mattered. Thus, as days turned into weeks, Olwin's encounters with Beta Elijah, Gamma Josh, and many others wove a narrative of resilience and renewal, a narrative that hinted at future challenges, exciting adventures, and a deeply personal transformation. The dynamic interplay of humor, empathy, and the quiet forging of new alliances promised that her journey was far from over. Rather, it was just beginning. And with each passing moment, the future of the Moon River Pack, and her place within it, became increasingly clear, stirring in her a steadfast belief that together they could face whatever destiny had in store. The Olive Branch Festival burst into life like a vivid dream at dawn, a celebration where the entire Moon River Pack gathered to share their stories, updates, and hopes for the future. As the first light of morning stretched across the horizon, the festival grounds transformed into a dazzling tapestry of colors and sounds, a living canvas painted with the spirit of renewal and unity. Long tables adorned with wildflowers and flickering lanterns lined the open field, and every corner buzzed with the excited chatter of wolves eager to connect and celebrate. Amid the gentle murmur of laughter and the soft strains of traditional melodies played by a local band, the air was heavy with the scent of fresh earth and blooming flora. The sweet, delicate fragrance of wild roses intermingled with the crisp, invigorating aroma of pine, creating an intoxicating blend that seemed to awaken even the most tired of souls. Beneath a sky of pastel blues and warm oranges, pack members shared hearty greetings and exchanged updates on recent triumphs and challenges. For many, this was more than just a festival. It was a reaffirmation of community and belonging, a momentary escape from the hardships of their tumultuous pasts. Yet, even as the atmosphere radiated warmth and communal joy, subtle undercurrents of tension weaved through the celebration. In quiet clusters away from the main revelry, hushed conversations hinted at unresolved conflicts and whispered uncertainties. There were furtive glances exchanged between certain members, and a few stood apart, their smiles masking a deeper inner turmoil. This delicate duality, of festive jubilation interlaced with quiet strains of discord, gave the festival an enigmatic quality, one that promised both celebration and the prelude to dramatic turns yet to unfold. As Olwin moved through the crowd, she could feel the pulse of the gathering in every beat of her heart, the lively murmur of conversation punctuated by spontaneous bursts of laughter, resonated deeply within her, echoing her own desire for connection after a long period of isolation. She observed groups of wolves animatedly discussing plans for the coming seasons, while others reflected silently on personal losses and the weight of past betrayals. In one particularly vibrant circle, a group of younger members playfully recounted their misadventures during training sessions, their voices rising in a joyful cadence that momentarily drowned out the lingering memories of hardship. Yet, amidst the light-hearted banter and jubilant exchanges, Olwin could not shake the subtle chill of anticipation that seemed to hang in the air. There were whispered rumors of a brewing challenge between rival factions, an undercurrent of ambition and unresolved vendettas that threatened to disrupt the harmony of the celebration. Every so often, a pause in the chatter or a fleeting, sidelong glance would send a ripple of unease through the crowd, as if the very atmosphere were bracing itself for an impending storm. It was in these brief moments of silence that the true complexity of the festival revealed itself, a delicate balance between the joyous present and the turbulent echoes of the past. In one corner of the festival, near a small stage draped in deep, velvety curtains, the pack's elders took turns, sharing tales of bygone eras. Their voices, measured and resonant, carried with them the weight of history and wisdom. They spoke of times when the pack was united under a single, just leader, and the trials that had once torn families apart. As their narratives unfolded, Olwin felt a stirring within her, a blend of nostalgia and cautious hope. The stories were laced with both melancholy and a promise of revival, underscoring the belief that even the deepest wounds could eventually mend under the right light. The festival was punctuated by spontaneous displays of affection and unity, a heartfelt embrace here, a playful chase there, as pack members celebrated not only their collective survival, but also the bonds that would shape their future. Yet, for all the merriment, a subtle undercurrent of curiosity lingered in the air. Every new face, every whispered exchange, hinted at secrets waiting to be revealed, alliances being quietly formed, and challenges that might soon test the strength of these freshly forged bonds. As the day progressed and the golden light deepened into a warm, amber glow, the festival took on an almost magical quality. The laughter, the music, and the mingling of voices created a symphony that was at once uplifting and tinged with an unmistakable sense of foreboding. For Olwin, each sensory detail, the vibrant colors of the decorations, the gentle hum of conversation, and the occasional, almost imperceptible tension in the air, served as a reminder that life was a mosaic of joy and sorrow, of unity and division. Standing at the heart of the celebration, Olwin allowed herself to be enveloped by the collective energy of the pack. Despite the unresolved conflicts and the murmurs of potential strife, the Olive Branch Festival was a testament to the resilience of the Moon River Pack, a vivid celebration of life, hope, and the enduring belief that, even in the face of adversity, the bonds of loyalty and community could prevail. As she looked around at the smiling faces, the animated discussions, and the playful yet poignant interactions, she felt a surge of determination. This was her new beginning, a moment when the promise of renewal mingled with the undercurrent of mystery, urging her forward into a future that was as uncertain as it was hopeful. And so, as the day slowly melted into the soft hues of twilight, the festival continued, a lively, multifaceted celebration where joy and tension danced in. Delicate harmony, inviting all who attended to embrace both the light and the shadows of their shared destiny. As dusk melted into night, the Olive Branch Festival transformed into a realm where the past and present converged in unexpected ways. Under the gentle glow of a crescent moon, soft shadows danced among the flickering lanterns, and the air pulsed with both laughter and an undercurrent of sorrow. In that ethereal twilight, Olwin found herself drawn into moments of raw vulnerability, instances where secrets whispered from the past resurfaced, mingling with the vibrant energy of the celebration. amid the lively chatter and the strains of a soulful melody played by a lone acoustic guitar. A hushed conversation broke out near a secluded corner of the festival grounds. Olwin, having found a quiet spot beneath an ancient willow, listened as a small group of pack elders recounted tales of former glories and bitter betrayals. Their voices, low and resonant, spoke of a time when the bonds of loyalty had been unbreakable, and of the devastating rifts that followed when trust was shattered. One elder, his eyes reflecting both pain and hope, confessed, "There are secrets that linger in our hearts, wounds that time has not yet healed. Sometimes, the bond of a mate is the only light in our darkness." His words, simple yet piercing, sent a ripple of introspection through Olwin, stirring memories she had long tried to bury. As the night deepened, the festival's energy shifted. The once playful notes of the music softened into a haunting melody that seemed to echo the unsaid words of lost promises. Olwin felt the interplay of light and shadow become almost tangible, a chiaroscuro that mirrored her own internal conflict. Laughter from a nearby group mingled with soft, almost imperceptible tears. The sound was bittersweet, a reminder that joy and grief often walked hand in hand. In a moment that felt suspended in time, Aaron appeared among the revelers, his presence casting a long shadow under the moonlit sky. His eyes, usually so warm and familiar, now held a trace of melancholy that made Olwin's heart tighten. In a quiet, hushed tone that barely rose above the murmurs of the crowd, Aaron approached her. "Olwin," he said, his voice trembling with emotion, "there's something I need to tell you." His confession was barely a whisper, yet it carried the weight of years of concealed truths. In that instant, Olwin's pulse quickened as her mind raced with questions. Questions about loyalty, about betrayal, and about the mysterious mate bond that had always lingered at the edges of her understanding. Before she could respond, the music swelled as another figure emerged from the shadows, a close friend from her past, whose eyes shone with both regret and longing. "I never meant for it to hurt you," he murmured, his tone laced with remorse. The revelation was like a jolt, forcing Olwin to confront the intermingled layers of her past, a tapestry of cherished memories now marred by secrets and betrayal. Her heart pounded fiercely, caught in the tumult of emotions that surged like waves against a rocky shore. In that charged atmosphere, every whispered confession, every tear that glistened in the soft light, built into a crescendo of emotional highs. The festive background, with its playful banter and rhythmic beats, provided a stark contrast to the heavy, aching truths now coming to light. A hushed voice from across the crowd mentioned a mysterious bond, a connection that transcended the physical, hinting at fated mates whose union was marked by both passion and profound destiny. "They say when true mates meet, even the darkest betrayals can be illuminated by a light that is both fierce and healing," the voice said softly, leaving Olwin to ponder the possibility that her own path might be forever altered by forces she could barely comprehend. Her internal dialogue grew louder, a quiet storm of thoughts and emotions. Could it be that this moment of painful revelation is also the key to a new beginning? The mingling of sorrow and hope was palpable, and every shared glance, every tear-streaked smile, became a testament to the resilience of the spirit. Olwin felt as if the very fabric of her being was being rewoven in real time, a tapestry that would now include threads of vulnerability, forgiveness, and the potential for rebirth. In the midst of these revelations, a brief interlude of silence fell over the gathering. It was as though time itself had paused, allowing each pack member a moment to reflect on the bittersweet truths unfolding before them. The soft rustle of leaves and the distant echo of a solitary wolf's howl served as a somber reminder that even amidst celebration, the scars of betrayal could not be easily erased. As the night wore on, Olwin's eyes wandered over the crowd, taking in the mosaic of expressions, some joyful, some pensive, and others tinged with a quiet sadness. The festival, with all its vibrant lights and cascading sounds, was not just a celebration of unity. It was also a mirror reflecting the complex interplay of human emotion. Here, the promise of renewed bonds and the painful legacy of past betrayals coexisted in a delicate balance that both haunted and inspired. In that fragile moment of clarity, Olwin resolved to embrace the truth of the night, to acknowledge both, the joy and the heartache that it brought. The secrets and confessions, the interplay of light and shadow, and the evocative strains of music had all conspired to lead her to this crossroads. While the revelations cut deep, they also ignited a spark, a tentative hope that perhaps, just perhaps, the painful chapters of her past could give way to a future defined by the strength of her resilience and the promise of fated connections. And so, beneath the watchful gaze of the moon and the tender chorus of nature's nocturne, Olwin stood on the brink of an emotional renaissance. With each heartbeat, the night's revelations wove themselves into her soul, a quiet testimony to the enduring power of vulnerability and the possibility of redemption. The questions of fate, loyalty, and mysterious bonds lingered in the air, inviting all who listened to ponder the transformative power of truth. As the echoes of celebration faded into the night, the festive glow gave way to a more clandestine atmosphere, a realm where politics and power shifted in the shadows of the Moon River Pack. Beneath the surface of camaraderie and renewed hope, subtle undercurrents of discontent stirred among the Pack's leadership. Whispers traveled like fleeting shadows through the corridors of power, hinting at deep-seated rivalries and ambitions that threatened to upend the fragile equilibrium. In all, hushed tones, high-ranking members exchanged wary glances, their conversations laced with caution and quiet defiance. The scandal that had rocked the Silver Arrow Pack, the betrayal that had forced Olwin to seek refuge, remained an unspoken stain, a reminder that loyalty, once fractured, could ripple outwards to unsettle even the most established alliances. Leaders found themselves compelled to address not only their internal disputes, but also the external implications of these betrayals on the unity of all the packs. Beta Elijah, whose calm presence had long been a stabilizing force, now carried an expression of guarded concern. Over a discreet meeting held in a secluded alcove of the pack's communal hall, he spoke in low, measured tones to a few trusted advisors. Olwin's integration, while a symbol of new beginnings, also reopens old wounds, he remarked. The bull. Remnants of the Silver Arrow scandal have stirred unrest. Some of our older members question if the Moon River Pack is truly free from the shadows of that betrayal. His words, careful and deliberate, were met with nods of agreement as murmurs of dissent and suspicion echoed softly in the background. In another corner of the hall, a sharp-minded alpha from a neighboring pack discreetly communicated with a trusted emissary through a series of cryptic signals, a language of gestures and muted phrases that only those steeped in the politics of the wild could decipher. This secretive exchange was a stark reminder that alliances, however newly formed, were not immune to the corrosive effects of power struggles. The air was thick with anticipation. Every whispered word and furtive glance seemed to portend a shift in the balance of power. Amid these subtle intrigues, Olwin's very presence had become a catalyst for both hope and uncertainty. For some, her arrival in the Moon River Pack was a sign that new, untainted blood was infusing the ranks, a symbol of potential healing and unity. For others, it was a reminder of past scandals that had destabilized the once mighty Silver Arrow Pack. Even as the Pack sought to rebuild, old rivalries smoldered just beneath the surface, threatening to ignite into open conflict at any moment. In the days that followed, during routine gatherings and shared meals, the conversations took on an edge of formality, punctuated by careful pauses and loaded silences. At one communal dinner, as the pack members gathered around long, rustic tables under the gentle luminescence of lantern light, an older wolf with graying fur and a stern demeanor softly criticized the recent events. "We must remain vigilant," he declared, his voice carrying the weight of decades of leadership. If we allow the wounds of the past to fester, we risk repeating the mistakes that led to our division. Loyalty must be earned, not assumed. His words resonated with some, and stirred a murmur of agreement from others, though a trace of skepticism lingered in the air. Yet despite these undercurrents of tension, there were moments when unity seemed attainable. In the quiet intervals between discussions of politics, Olwin could sense a deep-seated desire among the leaders to transcend the divisions of the past. They knew that the strength of the pack lay not in the power of one individual, but in the collective loyalty and resolve of its members. However, that unity was precarious, a delicate balance maintained through unspoken agreements and the constant negotiation of personal ambitions. One evening, as a cool breeze swept through the camp and the shadows deepened around flickering firelight, a private conversation unfolded between Alpha Landon and a trusted council member. "We are at a crossroads," Landon stated softly, his voice a mixture of resolve and concern. "The past is not easily forgotten, and the scandal of the Silver Arrow Pack continues to haunt our decisions. We must decide. Will we let old wounds undermine our future, or will we forge ahead, united by the promise of renewal?" His words, heavy with implication, left the listener with a lingering sense of uncertainty about the path that lay ahead. Throughout these clandestine exchanges and measured confrontations, Olwin's own integration into the pack had not gone unnoticed. Some viewed her with hope, believing that her fresh perspective could be the key to mending old divisions. Others, however, remained wary, their minds clouded by the unresolved tensions of former betrayals. In whispered exchanges along the fringes of gatherings, questions arose. Could the bonds of loyalty, once shattered, ever be fully restored? And what of those who had been betrayed? Would their voices eventually demand justice or retribution? The pack navigated these murky political waters. The sense of anticipation was palpable. Every subtle rivalry, every secret communication, was a thread in the intricate tapestry of pack politics, a tapestry that promised both the risk of further division and the possibility of a stronger, unified future. The atmosphere was charged with the realization that the decisions made in these quiet moments could shape the destiny of the Moon River Pack for generations to come. In the midst of these undercurrents, Olwin found herself reflecting on her own journey. The scars of her past, though painful, had instilled in her a quiet strength, a determination to rebuild her life on her own terms. Even as the political tensions swirled around her, she resolved to remain true to herself, to honor the lessons of loyalty and betrayal, and to seek a future where the bonds of community could heal even the deepest wounds. Thus, in the dim light of a gathering filled with both hope and hidden strife, the Moon River Pack stood at the precipice of transformation. The whispers of discontent and the subtle power struggles formed a delicate counterpoint to the promise of new beginnings, creating an atmosphere of anticipation that left every member, Olwin included, wondering what the next chapter would bring. The fragile balance of trust and rivalry, of old wounds and new promises, set the stage for a future as uncertain as it was full of potential, inviting all who listened to ponder the enduring question: can the legacy of betrayal be overcome by the strength of renewed loyalty? Under a sky painted with the hues of an impending storm, a sudden announcement sent ripples through the Moon River Pack, a declaration that would forever alter the delicate balance of power. The words echoed across the gathering, sharp and clear, as if cut from the very fabric of fate itself. In a brief, tense moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, the pack's leaders converged on a central clearing, their eyes reflecting both anticipation and quiet dread. "Attention, all pack members," boomed the voice of Alpha Landon, his tone firm yet laced with an underlying urgency. "Tonight, we announce a challenge, a contest of strength, skill, and honor between our rival alphas. This will be a showdown for the ages, a test that will determine not only the mightiest leader among us, but also the fate of our pack's future." His words, delivered with piercing clarity, stirred the crowd into a hushed frenzy. The challenge was not just a display of raw power. It was a battle for the very soul of the pack, where victory would crown the title of the strongest pack, and defeat would cast long shadows on one's legacy. In that electrifying moment, a palpable mix of excitement and apprehension gripped every wolf present. The air vibrated with a tension that was almost tangible, like the charged particles before a lightning strike. Eyes flickered from one leader to another, as if each were silently daring the other to step forward. The promise of high rewards, a renewed claim to honor, the title of the strongest pack, and a future shaped by decisive leadership was enough to set hearts racing. Yet, intertwined with this thrill was a sense of foreboding. The knowledge that such a contest carried deep personal implications, not just for the alphas involved, but for every member whose lives were interwoven with these bonds. The announcement was concise, each word carefully chosen to ignite the flames of competitive spirit while hinting at the underlying stakes. "Let it be known," Landon continued, his voice echoing over the assembled crowd, "that this challenge will not be taken lightly. It is a test of both physical might and unwavering character. The victor shall be recognized as the true embodiment of our pack's strength, and his leadership will set the course for all that we build together." His declaration left little room for doubt. The challenge was as much about pride and honor as it was about survival in a world where every decision rippled outwards, affecting allies and adversaries alike. As murmurs rippled through the ranks, a ripple of excitement surged among the younger wolves, their eyes alight with the thrill of impending action. Yet, for the older members, there was a measured caution, a deep understanding that the outcome of such a contest could redefine long-standing alliances and even fracture fragile bonds. Among the crowd, hushed whispers spoke of past rivalries, of grudges that had simmered for years, and of alliances that now teetered on the edge of dissolution. The challenge, it seemed, was not only a contest of strength, but also a crucible in which the pack's future would be forged. In the midst of this charged atmosphere, Olwin felt her heart beat in a rhythm that was both hopeful and hesitant. The announcement was a clarion call to action, a dramatic turning point that promised to sweep away the remnants of old betrayals and perhaps herald the rise of new unbreakable bonds. Yet, beneath the surface of that excitement lay a current of uncertainty. Would this challenge bring about the unity that the Moon River Pack so desperately needed? Or would it drive a deeper wedge between those already divided by the scars of past transgressions? Conversations erupted in small clusters, voices low and urgent. "This is it," one young wolf murmured, his tone a mix of thrill and nervous energy. "Today, we witness history." Another added, "If our alpha wins, maybe this will be the start of a new era for us, one where loyalty and strength are not compromised by old wounds." But not everyone shared that optimism. In quieter corners, older, wiser eyes exchanged worried glances, silently questioning whether the fervor of youthful ambition could truly override the weight of past betrayals. As the challenge loomed closer, the promise of high rewards became increasingly tangible. The victor of this contest would not only earn the title of the strongest leader, but would also gain the right to guide the pack into an era of renewed unity and formidable strength. The stakes were immense. Personal pride, legacy, and the very future of the Moon River Pack hung in the balance. In the charged atmosphere, even the subtle scent of the cool night air mingled with a metallic tang of anticipation, as if the very environment were imbued with the spirit of the impending duel. Alpha Landon's eyes, reflecting the distant glow of the rising moon, swept over the crowd with a look that was both commanding and contemplative. His gaze settled on each member, as if he were silently weighing their hopes and fears against the backdrop of a future yet to be written. "Let tonight be a testament to our strength and unity," he declared, his voice carrying the weight of destiny. "May the one who proves true not only in body but in spirit lead us into a new dawn, a dawn where our bonds are unbreakable and our resolve unyielding." And so, The challenge was set, a dramatic showdown that promised to be a turning point in the ongoing saga of the pack. With every word spoken, with every whispered rumor in the gathering darkness, the stakes grew higher, the tension thicker. In that moment, the Moon River Pack stood on the brink of transformation, the future shimmering with the promise of victory and the shadow of potential downfall, leaving every heart pounding in anticipation of what was to come. As the days dwindled, before the challenge, a quiet urgency took hold of the Moon River Pack. In a secluded part of their encampment, under the muted glow of twilight, Alpha Landon convened a secret meeting with his closest betas. The air was cool and heavy with anticipation as plans were laid out in hushed tones. Maps and diagrams spread across a rough-hewn wooden table detailed the terrain of the neutral ground where the showdown would occur. Landon's deep blue eyes flickered with both determination and a trace of inner conflict as he outlined strategies designed not only to showcase physical might, but also to reinforce the pack's unyielding spirit of unity. "We must approach this challenge with precision," Landon declared, his voice steady and resolute. "Our strength lies in our unity and our ability to adapt. We will use the terrain to our advantage and stay alert for any moves that might catch our rivals off guard." His words, both a rallying cry and a measured plan, resonated among his betas. They nodded in agreement, their expressions a blend of steely resolve and the anxiety that comes with the burden of leadership. Each beta's eyes betrayed a silent promise to stand by Landon, willing to sacrifice their comfort for the greater good of the pack. Meanwhile, Olwin, though not a combatant in the challenge, played her own part in the preparation. Every morning, before the rest of the pack stirred, she dedicated herself to refining her skills under the watchful guidance of Beta Caden. At the Cain training ground, once a place of solitary struggle, now pulsed with collective purpose. The crisp air carried the sound of swift movements and measured breaths as she practiced dodges, parries, and swift shifts between her human and wolf forms. The physical exertion was intense, but more than that, it served as an emotional outlet, a way for her to process the lingering pain of betrayal and transform it into the raw energy of determination. In the quiet moments after her training sessions, as the forest slowly came to life around her, Olwin's inner dialogue became a steady undercurrent of resolve. "This is my chance to build something new," she reminded herself, her thoughts mingling with the scent of pine and the distant murmur of a stream. Every drop of sweat was a testament to her will to overcome the shadows of her past. She recalled the promises of renewal that had lured her to the Moon River Pack, and despite the lingering sting of betrayal, she embraced the challenge of forging a fresh identity, one built on strength, resilience, and hope. Back at the secret strategy meeting, Landon's mind was equally tumultuous. As he reviewed the tactical layout with his betas, his thoughts often wandered to the weight of leadership. He remembered the faces of those who had placed their trust in him, and the heavy responsibility that came with guiding them through turbulent times. In a rare, reflective pause, Landon confided to one of his most trusted betas, "Every decision we make now will echo for years to come. I sometimes wonder if I'm prepared to bear that burden. But then I think of our pack, and I know that our future depends on our courage today." His words, soft yet resolute, carried the dual tones of hope and apprehension, encapsulating the emotional complexity of leadership. As dusk deepened and the night began to weave its cloak over the encampment, the intensity of preparation reached its peak. Secret meetings were held under the cover of darkness, where strategies were whispered and alliances subtly reaffirmed. Landon meticulously reviewed potential scenarios, counterattacks, ambushes, and the tactical positioning of his betas, each possibility examined with a surgeon's precision. The low hum of intense discussion blended with the natural symphony of nocturnal life, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of an owl, and the gentle whisper of the wind that carried secrets of the forest. In these charged hours, both Landon and Olwin grappled with personal doubts. Landon's mind was a battlefield of conflicting thoughts, the pressure of legacy, the fear of failure, and the burning desire to secure a future for his pack. Every strategic decision felt weighted with the promise of greatness and the potential for irrevocable loss. Yet, his resolve hardened with each passing moment, fortified by the knowledge that the lives of his kin depended on his unwavering commitment. Olwin, too, felt the stirrings of vulnerability. Amid the rigorous training and the quiet moments of introspection, she wondered if her own scars might somehow serve as a beacon, a reminder that even in the midst of despair, there was beauty and resilience. As she practiced beneath the silvery light of the moon, the interplay of shadow and light on her fur seemed to mirror the inner battle between her haunted past and the bright promise of a new dawn. Each deliberate movement was both a defiance against the ghosts of yesterday and an embrace of the future's uncertain, yet tantalizing possibilities. The encampment buzzed with a collective awareness that the ultimate confrontation was near, a clash that would not only test the physical limits of its leaders, but would also determine the direction of the entire Moon River pack. The stakes were colossal. Victory meant the affirmation of their strength, the crown of the strongest pack, and the redefinition of leadership for generations to come. Defeat, on the other hand, carried the bitter possibility of shattered alliances and a lingering legacy of distrust. In the final hours before the challenge, the atmosphere was charged with palpable suspense. The night air, cool and expectant, seemed to hold its breath as Landon and his betas made the last refinements to their plans. Every whispered word, every shared look of determination, contributed to a tapestry of anticipation that enveloped the pack. Both leaders and warriors alike understood that they stood at the precipice of a turning point, a moment where the courage of their convictions would either unite them or tear them apart. In this crucible of strategy, emotion, and unspoken resolve, the Moon River pack prepared for the impending clash with a mixture of anxiety and hope. The careful planning, the secret meetings, and the relentless training were not just about physical readiness. They were about forging the spirit of a new era. And as the first hints of dawn began to break, the pack braced itself for a confrontation that promised to reshape their destiny, leaving every heart pounding in anticipation of what the coming day would reveal. The battle erupted like a storm, unleashed, raw and sudden, as if the very earth had held its breath for this moment. In the clearing, under a sky choked with dark, swirling clouds, rival alphas clashed with a fury that echoed through the Moon River pack's lands. Every heartbeat was a drum, every breath a silent roar of defiance. Alpha Landon led his warriors, with a steely gaze. Across the field, the challenge was met by another formidable force, eyes glinting with ambition and vengeance. In mere moments, the air filled with the sound of snarls, the impact of bodies colliding, and the crackle of tension so thick it could be sliced by a knife. Short, sharp commands rang out. Now! Push forward! Hold the line! Yo! Voices of the pack intermingled with the clash of fangs and the scraping of claws against hardened hides. Each sound was a testament to the fierce will to win, and each strike held the weight of deep, personal stakes. Landon moved like a force of nature. His blows were swift and calculated, a punch here, a snarl there. Every muscle was coiled, every movement precise. His opponents advanced with a similar intensity. They lunged, retracted, and met his charge head-on. The ground trembled beneath the force of their engagement. In the midst of the chaos, Olwin watched, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and awe. The battle was more than physical. It was a collision of souls. Each blow exchanged was a silent confession of years of betrayal, each parry an echo of past heartaches. The emotional stakes were etched in every furious movement. Every howl from a wounded warrior was a cry of both agony and determination. The struggle was unrelenting. A rival wolf, his coat matted with sweat and blood, lunged at Landon with fierce aggression. Landon dodged with uncanny agility. Their fates entwined in a ballet of survival, quick, brutal, and beautiful in its savagery. Impact after impact, their struggle reverberated like thunder. The arena of combat was lit by flashes of lightning overhead, casting stark shadows on the combatants, amplifying the drama in each fleeting second. Short, impactful sentences punctuated the air. A swipe, a snarl, a desperate leap. Each fragment of action told a story of unyielding determination. One warrior, his eyes blazing with ferocity, found himself pinned against a tree by a powerful, calculated strike. His cry was short, raw, and full of defiance. Then, a second later, he twisted free, only to be met by the relentless counterattack of his adversary. Every move was a risk, every block a test. The ground was stained with the marks of battle, scorch marks where claws had torn through fur, and streaks of silver and red that told tales of sacrifice. Amid the melee, the sound of heavy breathing, the rustle of quick movements, and the intermittent clamor of ferocious barks created an atmosphere thick with suspense. Landon's heart pounded in his chest. In the heat of combat, doubts and memories surged. He recalled his duty to protect his pack, the trust placed in him by those who believed in his strength. With every powerful swing, he fought not only his rivals, but the specter of past failures. His eyes met those of his adversaries in brief, charged moments, silent challenges that spoke of honor and destiny. Even as the fight raged, moments of stillness punctuated the chaos. A pause here, a brief glance there, a warrior's hand trembling as he wiped away a bead of sweat, a fleeting look of regret crossing the face of an enemy. These quiet fragments of humanity amidst the fury raised questions that sent shivers down the spine. What drove them to this breaking point? Was the fight only about power, or was it a quest for redemption? Every small introspective moment added to the dramatic tension, leaving the listener on edge, yearning to know what would come next. The duel was relentless. Quick strikes, heavy blows, moments when time seemed to slow to capture the raw emotion etched on every face. One warrior's roar, sharp and piercing, broke the continuous hum of battle, stirring the onlookers into a collective gasp. The clash of titanic forces was not merely a test of strength, it was an examination of character, of resolve. Each blow was a punctuation mark in a story written in scars and determination. As the confrontation intensified, the stakes became increasingly clear. The title of the strongest pack hung in the balance, promising glory, honor, and a future shaped by the victor's leadership. But for many, the battle was also deeply personal. A chance to settle old scores and reclaim lost honor. The emotional charge was palpable. Every impact resonated with the promise of a hard-won victory and the risk of crushing defeat. Then, in one climactic moment, as if the heavens themselves had ordained it, the energy in the clearing shifted. A powerful blow sent one adversary staggering back, the force of it echoing like a thunderclap. Silence, brief but overwhelming, followed, a moment where every eye was fixed on the outcome. The battle had reached a crescendo, and the fate of the pack trembled on the knife's edge of that instant. In that heartbeat of silence, the listener could almost feel the collective breath of the pack held in anticipation. The raw intensity of the fight, the fierce determination of each combatant, and the deep personal stakes intermingled to create a tableau of epic proportions. A cinematic moment where the past, present, and future converged in a single, powerful instant. And in that moment, as the fight continued to unfold with unyielding ferocity, the promise of a new destiny loomed just ahead, waiting to be claimed by the one who would rise above the chaos. The battle's fury slowly subsided, leaving behind a clearing strewn with the remnants of shattered armor, fallen warriors, and the quiet, haunting echoes of conflict. In the immediate aftermath, the atmosphere was heavy with a mix of relief, sorrow, and a deep sense of inevitability. As the dust settled and the murmurs of the surviving pack members filled the air, shifting loyalties began to emerge like fragile buds in the aftermath of winter. Olwin stood at the edge of the clearing, her eyes scanning the scene with a pained, reflective gaze. The cacophony of battle had given way to a heavy silence, punctuated by low, grieving howls and murmured words of lament. The clash had taken its toll, not only on the physical form of the warriors, but also on the very fabric of their communal bonds. Every scar and every wounded sigh told the story of a fight that had been as much about personal redemption as it was about reclaiming honor. In the wake of the conflict, some warriors knelt in quiet solitude, heads bowed, eyes closed, mourning the loss of comrades and the ideals they once fought for. The sense of grief was palpable. Not all wounds were visible. There was an unspoken mourning for the fractured legacy of the Silver Arrow Pack, a once proud lineage now tarnished by betrayal, and the weight of internal strife. Even among those who had emerged victorious, a somber acknowledgement lingered that no triumph could fully erase the pain of what had been lost. Shifting alliances soon began to crystallize in the wake of the battle. Leaders and betas exchanged guarded glances, their expressions a mixture of relief and apprehension. The events of the day had redrawn the lines of loyalty, old bonds weakened by the relentless tide of betrayal, and new ones forged in the crucible of combat. The Silver Arrow Pack, once a symbol of unyielding unity, now appeared fractured. Its members, scattered by dissent and disillusionment, began to drift towards the emerging stability of the Moon River Pack. For many, the defeat of the false leadership marked a bittersweet turning point, a painful yet necessary step towards accepting a new order. Alpha Landon, his face etched with fatigue and solemn resolve, addressed the assembled warriors in a tone that was both authoritative and mournful. "Today, we witnessed a reckoning," he stated softly, his words carrying the weight of hard-won truth. "Not only have we confronted our enemies, but we have also faced the ghosts of our past. Loyalty, once taken for granted, must be earned anew. Our path forward is not without sacrifice, but it is paved by the lessons of betrayal and the hope of redemption." His words resonated deeply, stirring a reflective silence that spoke volumes about the complex emotions rippling through the pack. For Olwin, the aftermath was a personal crucible. The fierce conflict had forced her to confront the duality of her existence, the beauty of newfound belonging within the Moon River Pack, and the lingering bitter taste of the betrayals that had driven her from the Silver Arrow Pack. As she surveyed the wounded and the weary, her mind was awash with memories of a past filled with cherished bonds and irrevocable losses. The grief for her former family mingled with a cautious optimism for the future, creating an intricate tapestry of emotion that was as painful as it was liberating. In quiet moments, Olwin allowed herself to reflect deeply. "We are defined not only by our victories but also by our scars," she mused. The battle had exposed the raw truth of their existence, a truth where loyalty and betrayal danced in a delicate, unyielding balance. Every tear shed that day was a testament to the sacrifices made, every whispered apology and silent vow a promise that the future, though uncertain, could still be shaped by honor and unity. Meanwhile, the political repercussions of the battle began to ripple outward. The shattered remnants of the Silver Arrow Pack had to face the reality of a new order, one where their old ways of rule and the corrupt practices that had brought them low were now being questioned by all who remained. The leaders of the pack, now isolated and embittered by their own missteps, found themselves confronted by a harsh new truth. Power gained through cruelty was no longer viable. In its place emerged a fragile hope that genuine leadership, one that was built on respect, loyalty, and the silent blessings of the moon goddess, could restore balance to the fractured world of the wilds. Within the solemn assembly, quiet debates ensued about the future. Some voiced the need for reform, for a complete overhaul of the pack's old hierarchies. Others, still clinging to the faded memories of past glories, resisted change with a stubborn resolve. It was a time of profound uncertainty, where every decision carried the potential to either heal old wounds or open new divides. The air was thick with anticipation, as warriors and leaders alike braced for the inevitable shifts that the battle's fallout would bring. In this transformative moment, the Moon River Pack slowly began to embrace its new identity. While the scars of the Silver Arrow Pack would forever remain as a somber reminder of the price of betrayal, they also served as a catalyst, a call to forge a future defined by renewed commitment and authentic loyalty. The journey ahead was fraught with challenges, but in the quiet acceptance of loss, there was also the stirring promise of a united tomorrow. And so, as night deepened and the wounded were tended to, the pack gathered its resolve. With hearts heavy yet determined, they looked toward the horizon with a shared understanding that the true measure of their strength lay not in the absence of pain, but in the courage to rise above it. The aftermath of the battle was a complex tapestry of grief and hope, a reminder that every end is merely the beginning of something new, even as the echoes of betrayal lingered in the shadows of the past. In the weeks following the battle, a quiet transformation began to take shape in the heart of the evergreen wilds. The Moon River Pack, resilient and determined, started to extend its embrace toward the scattered remnants of the Silver Arrow Pack. Like the slow, deliberate building of a bridge over a churning river, new alliances were being forged between disparate groups, knitting together a tapestry of hope from threads of past sorrow. Under the gentle radiance of the moon, a silent witness to both triumph and tragedy, the leaders of the Moon River Pack worked tirelessly to mend old divisions. Alpha Landon, with his unwavering calm and determined gaze, spearheaded this effort. He reached out not with an iron fist, but with a steady hand and an open heart, inviting those who had once been part of the Silver Arrow legacy to join him in a renewed pursuit of unity. "There is strength in our diversity," Landon declared, during a quiet council meeting held under the starry night sky. "Let us build bridges from our broken past, so that together we can face the challenges of tomorrow." In one such meeting, the survivors of the Silver Arrow Pack, their eyes weary but hopeful, gathered around a large weathered oak in the center of the Moon River encampment. They exchanged tentative greetings with members of the Moon River Pack, each interaction laden with the weight of history and the promise of healing. Beta Elijah, known for his compassionate insight, extended a sincere smile and a firm handshake to an aging warrior from the Silver Arrow. "We understand the pain of loss," he said quietly, "but we also believe that together we can forge a future where loyalty and honor are reborn." As the days unfolded, the integration process became a gradual, yet inspiring journey. Old grudges were not erased overnight. Rather, they were gently set aside in favor of common purpose. The once fragmented members of the Silver Arrow Pack found themselves welcomed into shared meals, training sessions, and discussions about the future of their new collective. In the soft murmur of these gatherings, the sounds of clinking utensils and hearty laughter intertwined with the natural symphony of rustling leaves and distant river murmurs, evoking an atmosphere of renewal. Across the camp, subtle acts of connection became the building blocks of new alliances. A young wolf from Silver Arrow, whose eyes still carried traces of past betrayal, tentatively approached a group of Moon River Pack members. Over time, cautious, conversations evolved into spirited exchanges of stories and dreams. These interactions were like tiny bridges, each one strengthening the bond between individuals who had once known only division. The imagery was vivid. Imagine weathered, crumbling stones being carefully placed and mortared with shared understanding, forming a new path that led toward a horizon of collective strength. For Olwin, these moments of unity were deeply personal. As she moved among the pack, her heart, still tender from past wounds, began to beat with a renewed rhythm. She observed how former adversaries started to share laughs over memories of old training sessions, and how the pain of betrayal gradually softened into bittersweet recollections, less about regret and more about lessons learned. In quiet moments, Olwin found herself by the banks of the Moon River, watching the water flow steadily. The river's gentle current became a metaphor for the pack's transformation. a constant, unyielding force that carried away the remnants of a fractured past while nurturing the seeds of a promising future. Yet, beneath this burgeoning optimism lay the faint whisper of future challenges. In hushed conversations late at night, a few senior members exchanged knowing looks and murmured about the influence of the moon goddess, a sacred force that had long guided the fate of all packs in the wilds. "Her light has always shown us the way," one elder said, his voice barely audible against the backdrop of a soft, cool breeze. "But we must not forget. Her blessings are not a guarantee against the trials that lie ahead." These words, spoken in reverence and caution, added a layer of mystique to the evolving alliances. It was as though the moon goddess herself watched over every handshake, every shared smile, and every whispered promise, reminding all that while new bonds were being forged, the path to unity was fraught with both beauty and peril. The evolving landscape of the pack politics was further complicated by the lingering scars of the past. Old rivalries, though subdued, still flickered like shadows at the edge of every gathering. Some members of the Silver Arrow Pack, reluctant to let go of the past, occasionally voiced their concerns in quiet, measured tones. "We must be cautious," one such voice warned, "for while we build new alliances, the wounds of betrayal may yet fester if we do not confront them with honesty and integrity." These reflections served as both a caution and a call to action, a reminder that the process of healing required continuous vigilance, empathy, and the courage to face uncomfortable truths. In the midst of this complex interplay of emotions, the Moon River Pack's leaders worked to chart a clear path forward. They initiated a series of community-building events, designed not only to celebrate their newfound unity, but also to address the lingering issues head-on. Through these gatherings, the subtle hints of future challenges, rising tensions, potential power struggles, and the unpredictable influence of external forces were acknowledged openly. This honest dialogue, though fraught with difficulty, became a vital step in transforming past betrayals into the bedrock of a stronger, more resilient future. As the pack began to move forward, every act of integration, each shared meal, every collaborative training session, and every quiet conversation beneath the starlit sky served as a testament to their collective determination to rebuild. The bridges being built between former adversaries were not mere physical constructs. They were profound symbols of hope, unity, and the promise that even the deepest wounds could heal with time, trust, and the unyielding guidance of fate. Indeed, the soft glow of the moon and the gentle murmur of the river, the new alliances took root, heralding the dawn of a united future for the Moon River Pack, a future where the legacy of betrayal would be transformed into a story of redemption, resilience, and the enduring power of loyalty. Under a canopy of twinkling stars and a gentle silver glow cast by the full moon, the Moon River Pack gathered to celebrate a moment of profound intimacy, a wedding that promised to unite two souls, Beta Elijah and Stella, in a bond as enduring as the wild itself. The setting was nothing short of cinematic, an elegant clearing by the banks of the Moon River, where nature's beauty blended seamlessly with the soft touch of human artistry. Delicate strings of fairy lights, woven among ancient trees, twinkled like fireflies, and floral arrangements in hues of deep burgundy and soft lavender adorned rustic wooden tables, creating an atmosphere that was both solemn and exuberant. As the gentle notes of a harp floated through the cool night air, Beta Elijah, dignified and calm, stood at the heart of the celebration. His eyes, warm and sincere, shone with a mix of pride and tender vulnerability. Beside him, Stella radiated a quiet grace, her smile both shy and resplendent as she adjusted the elegant gown that cascaded around her like a waterfall of silk. Their union, celebrated in this intimate ceremony, was not just a merging of hearts, but a quiet testament to the power of healing and renewed hope, a gentle reprieve from the echoes of past betrayals and the fierce struggles that had once divided their world. The ceremony began with a soft murmur of anticipation. Family and friends of the pack, from the youngest pups to the venerable elders, gathered in a semicircular formation, their faces illuminated by the flickering light of candles, placed carefully along the edge of the clearing. In the gentle glow of the moon and the warmth of shared smiles, every heart seemed to beat in unison, united in the common hope that love, when true, could heal even the deepest of wounds. With a measured grace that spoke of deep resolve, the efficient, a wise, time-worn wolf whose gentle eyes had witnessed countless beginnings and endings, stepped forward. "Today," he intoned in a voice both steady and compassionate, "we gather not merely to witness a union, but to celebrate the merging of two souls who have endured hardship and have emerged stronger together. Let Beta Elijah and Stella's love remind us that even in a world shadowed by betrayal, the light of true connection can shine brightly." As the words resonated through the cool night air, Beta Elijah and Stella exchanged heartfelt vows. In their quiet, measured tones, they spoke of the journey that had brought them here, a path marked by trials and triumphs, by moments of intense sorrow and bursts of unyielding hope. "I promise to stand by you," declared Elijah, his voice low and fervent, "to honor the strength that has carried us through darkness, and to cherish every moment of light that we share." Stella's reply was soft yet resolute. "I promise to remember that every scar tells our story, and together we will transform our pain into the foundation of our future." Their words, imbued with a tender sincerity, lingered in the air, each syllable echoing like a whispered promise among the rustling leaves. As they exchanged rings, simple bands of polished silver, symbolizing the moon goddess's blessing and the eternal cycle of renewal, the setting seemed to transform. The moon river itself, flowing gently in the background, shimmered with a luminescence that mirrored the hopeful glow in the eyes of the couple. Every element of the ceremony, from the soft music to the elegant decor, was a quiet reminder that this union was a new beginning, an opportunity for the pack to embrace unity and leave behind the scars of past divisions. Throughout the ceremony, tender glances and gentle touches spoke volumes. In one poignant moment, as Stella's hand was tenderly clasped by Elijah's, a shared smile passed between them, a silent acknowledgement of the hurdles they had overcome and the future they now dared to dream of. The soft murmur of the onlookers, many of whom had once known the sting of betrayal, now carried a note of quiet celebration, as if every heart in the crowd was collectively exhaling a sigh of relief and hope. For Olwin and other members of the pack, the wedding was a deeply personal reminder that even after periods of discord and pain, love could blossom anew. It was a beacon of reconciliation, a visible testament that the bonds of loyalty could be rebuilt, strengthened by the gentle persistence of hope and the guiding influence of the moon goddess. Every detail of the celebration, from the gentle cadence of the vows to the delicate brush of hands during the exchange of rings, was a carefully crafted moment of beauty, inviting all who witnessed it to believe in the transformative power of love. As the ceremony drew to a close, the crowd erupted in soft applause, a chorus of warm, collective approval that resonated beneath the vast starlit sky. The newly united couple, bathed in the soft glow of the moon and the reverent admiration of their pack, stepped forward into a future defined by the promise of togetherness. Their wedding was more than a simple celebration. It was a turning point, a quiet, yet powerful, affirmation that even amidst the lingering shadows of past betrayals, there existed a profound capacity for healing, unity, and the rebirth of a shared destiny. In that moment, as the moon ascended higher and the soft night air embraced the joyous congregation, Beta Elijah and Stella became symbols of a renewed order, a testament that the most tender of unions can indeed forge the path to a brighter, more harmonious tomorrow. In the quiet moments after the celebrations had faded into a gentle, reflective dusk, the pack's collective heartbeat slowed to a contemplative rhythm. Beneath the canopy of stars, Olwin found herself alone on a weathered stone bench by the river, the soft murmur of water echoing the unspoken questions of her soul. In the stillness of that night, her mind wandered through the labyrinth of memories, of shattered promises, of lost family, and of the tender bonds that had withstood the relentless tests of fate. She whispered softly to the darkness, "Loyalty. What does it truly mean when betrayal has left such deep scars?" Her inner monologue unfolded like a quiet, winding river. Perhaps loyalty isn't about blind faith or unquestioning obedience, she mused, watching the gentle ripples on the water surface. Maybe it is found in the courage to forgive, in the strength to rebuild, and in the wisdom to learn from every misstep along our path. Each ripple seemed to carry a fragment of her past, dissolving slowly into the present, a reminder that even the most turbulent storms eventually give way to calm, and that every ending harbors the seed of a new beginning. Elsewhere, under the silver glow of the moon, Alpha Landon stood at the edge of the forest, his gaze lost in the distant horizon. In the solitude of leadership, he too wrestled with the nature of loyalty and destiny. His thoughts, heavy with the weight of responsibility, were both a balm and a burning question. Our pack is built on the promise of unity, he reflected, quietly. Yet the ghosts of betrayal whisper of old wounds that time has yet to heal. Is it our fate to be forever defined by these scars? Or can we rise above them and shape a future marked by true honor? His voice, though silent to those around him, resonated in the still night air, mingling with the soft sigh of the wind. As the pack's elders gathered in a small circle near the communal fire, their expressions somber and reflective, Beta Elijah spoke in measured tones that carried the wisdom of years. "We have all been tested by fate," he intoned, his voice gentle yet firm. "Every loyalty betrayed, every promise broken, has carved a part of who we are. But it is in the rebuilding of these bonds, in the honest acknowledgement of our failures, that true strength is born. We must learn to see our scars not as marks of weakness, but as symbols of our endurance and our capacity to evolve." His words, echoing in the quiet night, stirred a shared sense of resolve among those present. Stella, standing close by, let her eyes drift toward the shimmering reflection of the moon on the river's surface. In that quiet moment, her thoughts wove into a tapestry of hope and quiet defiance. Fate twists and turns in mysterious ways, she contemplated. Sometimes the path we are forced to tread by heartbreak leads us to a destiny we never imagined, a destiny where love and loyalty intertwine to form something both beautiful and enduring. Her inner reflections mingled with the gentle crackle of the fire, as if the flames themselves were whispering secrets of renewal and promise. For Olwin, the night was a mosaic of introspection and subtle suspense. Each silent heartbeat, each lingering gaze at the starlit sky, hinted at the challenges that still lay ahead, a future filled with tests of character and further trials of destiny. "I must remain vigilant," she resolved silently. "For, even as I find solace in these new bonds, fate may yet demand another reckoning. True loyalty is forged not in the absence of betrayal, but in the strength to rise after falling." Her words, though unspoken, were etched deeply into her soul, a quiet vow that she would continue to honor her past while daring to dream of a future where trust and resilience reigned supreme. In that meditative atmosphere, the Moon River Pack itself seemed to breathe a collective hope. The gentle interplay of light and shadow, the soft chorus of nature mingling with whispered reflections, and the steady murmur of the river created a symphony of destiny, a reminder that life, with all its twists and turns, is a journey defined by both triumph and hardship. The moon goddess, ever watchful above, cast her luminous glow upon the gathering, as if bestowing silent blessings and hinting at further tests to come, challenges that would once again call each member to stand by their convictions and forge bonds that transcended the pain of the past. As the night deepened, Each reflective soul in the pack clung to their private revelations. The realization emerged that loyalty was not a static ideal, but a dynamic force, ever-changing, ever-evolving. It was in the moments of honest reflection, when the darkness revealed the true contours of their scars, that the pack's future could be imagined anew. Every heart, every mind, was now part of a greater, unfolding narrative, a tale of redemption, of battles fought not just on the field, but in the silent, private chambers of the soul. And so, under the watchful gaze of the cosmos, the pack stood, at the precipice of a new era. With every whispered promise and every measured breath, they prepared to meet the future, uncertain, challenging, but filled with the quiet certainty that through loyalty, resilience, and the enduring grace of destiny, they would rise together. The night, heavy with introspection and ripe with possibility, held its secrets close, promising that the true tests of character were yet to come, and that the legacy of their loyalty would shape the destiny of the wild for generations to follow. As the gentle murmur of the Moon River Pack's nightly gathering began to fade into the quiet of early dawn, an almost imperceptible tension lingered in the air, a delicate prelude to the next chapter of their intertwined fates. The celebrations, the revelations, and even the bitterness of old betrayals had converged into a moment of reflective stillness. Yet beneath the calm surface, subtle currents of mystery and anticipation stirred. It was as if the forest itself, with its ancient trees and softly whispering winds, guarded secrets that promised new challenges, secret alliances, and unresolved questions that would shape the future of the pack. Olwin, still reeling from the emotional revelations of the past few days, gazed out over the river. The water flowed steadily, its surface shimmering under the first hints of dawn, a silent metaphor for the constant, unyielding march of destiny. In that quiet moment, her thoughts drifted to the unknown horizon ahead. There is more to our story than what has been revealed today, she mused, her heart heavy with both sorrow and hope. Every ending paves the way for a new beginning, and every unanswered question beckons us to search deeper. Her inner voice was both a comfort and a warning, a reminder that the legacy of loyalty, betrayal, and destiny was far from complete. Across the camp, a few key figures gathered in hushed clusters, their conversations low and laden with speculation. Beta Elijah, ever the quiet sage, exchanged knowing glances with Gamma Josh as they reviewed a set of newly discovered documents and intercepted messages. Although they spoke in guarded tones, the tension in their words hinted at alliances forming in the shadows. "There are whispers among the outsiders," Josh confided, his voice barely rising above a murmur, "of a looming challenge that could shake our very foundations. We must be ready for what's coming." His words, though vague, set hearts racing with a mix of dread and anticipation. Meanwhile, Alpha Landon paced slowly near the ancient oak that had long stood as a silent sentinel over the pack's history. His gaze was fixed on the horizon, where the interplay of light and shadow suggested that nothing was as it seemed. Landon's mind churned with thoughts of the next phase, of further tests of character and unexpected twists that fate might have in store. "We have seen much," he murmured to himself, "but the true battle is only beginning. Our unity, our loyalty, and our willingness to embrace change will be our greatest weapons." His internal resolve was as firm as the ancient roots of the oak, yet even he could not fully shake the uncertainty that clung to the edges of his thoughts. In the soft light of the coming day, the atmosphere within the Moon River Pack shifted, imperceptibly. The shared understanding among its members was that the trials of the recent past were merely the opening act in a much larger saga, a saga that would soon unfold in unexpected ways. Conversations around the campfire hinted at clandestine meetings, secret alliances, and the possibility of new factions emerging from the remnants of the Silver Arrow Pack. There were murmurs of an enigmatic force at work, perhaps a hidden adversary, or a catalyst for change that would force the pack to re-examine everything they held dear. At a quiet corner of the camp, an elder wolf with silver-streaked fur looked out over the horizon and spoke in a low, contemplative tone to a small group of attentive listeners. "Our journey does not end here," he said, his voice carrying the weight of years and the wisdom of experience. "Each victory, each loss, and every secret exchanged in the dark is a stitch in the tapestry of our destiny. There will be more challenges, more tests that will call us to defend our honor and redefine our alliances." His words, gentle yet ominous, resonated with those gathered, leaving them with a lingering sense of curiosity about what the future might hold. Even as the first rays of sunlight pierced the canopy, casting a golden glow on the pack's encampment, the sense of impending change was undeniable. Olwin felt it in every fiber of her being, a quiet, insistent pull that beckoned her toward a future filled with both promise and peril. She recalled the stories of the past, the secrets of old loyalties, and the bittersweet lessons of betrayal that had led her to this moment. And now, as the new day dawned, she could sense that the path ahead was one of transformation, a journey that would require courage, wisdom, and an unyielding commitment to the bonds that united them. The stage was set for a sequel that promised to delve deeper into the mysteries of the pack, the ever-changing dynamics of loyalty, and the twists of fate that would test each member's resolve. Hints of upcoming challenges, ranging from rival factions re-emerging to secret packs being formed in the dead of night, whispered through the camp, carried on the wind like fragments of an unfinished song. The moon goddess, whose silent blessing had guided them thus far, seemed to shimmer with renewed energy, as if signaling that the trials to come would be as transformative as they were inevitable. In the quiet interludes before the day fully broke, Olwin and her kin were left with the burning curiosity of what lay ahead. The unresolved questions, the fate of those betrayed, the true meaning of loyalty in an ever-changing world, and the mysterious forces that bound them all, hung in the air like an unspoken promise. The legacy of their recent trials was not one of finality, but a threshold into a deeper, more intricate narrative that beckoned them to step forward and embrace the unknown. And so, as the Moon River Pack prepared to face a new dawn, the seeds of a larger story were sown, one that promised further revelations, unexpected alliances, and challenges that would redefine their destiny. The future remained shrouded in mystery, a tapestry yet to be woven with threads of hope, betrayal, and the enduring power of loyalty. For now, all that was certain was that the journey was far from over, and the next chapter awaited with bated breath, ready to transform the legacy of the pack into something greater than any one of them could have ever imagined. Under a sky now, softly blushing with the early hues of dawn, the Moon River Pack's journey reached a reflective pause, a gentle epilogue that wove together the threads of triumph and loss, of betrayal and renewed loyalty. In the stillness that followed the tumultuous events, the pack gathered in quiet reverence near the river's edge, where the water, ever steady and unyielding, mirrored the unspoken hope of a future rebuilt on the bonds of trust and unity. For Olwin, the journey had been nothing short of transformative. From the piercing sting of betrayal to the cautious embrace of new alliances, every moment had etched itself into her soul. As she stood silently, watching the river shimmer under the soft glow of sunrise, she felt both the weight of past sorrows and the promise of what lay ahead. The memories of lost family and fractured loyalties mingled with the gentle assurance that every ending carries the seed of a new beginning. It was a quiet, powerful reminder that even when the night seems darkest, the dawn is never far behind. The emotional tapestry of the pack was now interwoven with the lessons learned on this arduous journey. Old wounds, once festering in the shadows, had begun to heal, replaced by new ties of friendship and shared purpose. The Silver Arrow Pack, with its tumultuous legacy of betrayal, had given way to a renewed order, one that championed the resilience of the spirit and the transformative power of loyalty. The sacrifice, the struggles, and the bittersweet victories had all converged into a collective resolve to move forward together. In this reflective interlude, I, your storyteller, feel compelled to share a few insights from behind the scenes. Crafting this saga was not merely a creative exercise, but a journey in itself. Every character was born from a deep contemplation of what loyalty truly means, and every plot twist was designed to echo the age-old battle between trust and betrayal. For instance, Olwin's name was carefully chosen to evoke both vulnerability and strength, reminding us that even the gentlest souls can possess an unbreakable will. Similarly, the evolution of characters like Alpha Landon and Beta Elijah was inspired by the idea that true leadership emerges not from dominance, but from the ability to rise after adversity and to nurture those who follow. The creative process behind this tale was one of constant revision and reflection. I found myself revisiting themes of destiny and honor, pondering how the moon goddess's ethereal presence could serve as a guiding light in the narrative. The mystical elements, the fated mate bonds, the secret blessings of the moon goddess, were woven into the story as a way to remind us that destiny is rarely linear. It twists, it turns, and sometimes it challenges us to redefine what we believe about love and loyalty. In every scene, whether it was the fierce battle under a stormy sky or the tender wedding celebration bathed in moonlight, I aimed to capture that delicate balance between the harsh realities of betrayal and the gentle promise of redemption. Behind the scenes, there were moments of both frustration and profound satisfaction. Decisions about character names, for example, were influenced by a desire to create a world that felt both familiar and entirely new. One that resonated deeply with an audience who understands that the struggle for loyalty is a universal human experience. I experimented with various plot arcs, always mindful not to overshadow the emotional core of the story with excessive complexity. Instead, I wanted every twist to invite introspection, and every character to serve as a mirror reflecting the challenges we all face in forging genuine connections. Now, as we wrap up this chapter of Destiny's Tethers, I invite you to join in the conversation. What does loyalty mean to you in a world full of unpredictable twists and turns? How do you find hope after betrayal? Your thoughts, your stories, and your insights are what breathe life into this narrative. If this journey has stirred something within you, please share it with friends, comment below, and let's continue this dialogue. Your voices are the next chapter in this unfolding saga, and I'm eager to hear how these themes resonate with your own experiences. As you listen to these reflections and watch the Moon River Pack move forward into a future both uncertain and brimming with promise, remember that every ending is merely the beginning of something new. Let this tale inspire you to reflect on your own journey, on the challenges you've faced, the loyalties you cherish, and the destinies you're yet to create. Thank you for being part of this voyage through betrayal, redemption, and the enduring power of loyalty. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story if it touched your heart or sparked your curiosity. Your support helps this narrative grow and encourages the creation of more tales that celebrate the triumph of the human and the wolf spirit. Stay tuned, for the journey is far from over, and many more chapters await, each with its own mysteries and revelations, ready to transform the legacy of the pack into a story even greater than before.